Welcome to Morgantown, West Virginia. This is Mountaineer country, as John Denver sang, almost heaven. And on a crisp November night, the folks here are revved up and ready for the visit from Louisville. This has been a marquee game in the Big East the last 3 years. And West Virginia, the guys off the bus, the guys who drive the bus, White and Slayton. Welcome to college football prime time presented by Applebee's and Mountaineer Field in Morgantown, loaded with the faithful dressed in all gold as their team will be tonight for the first time ever at home. An important collision for West Virginia, number 7 in the BCS, against Louisville as the Cardinals try to play spoiler. The winner of this game, each of the last 2 years, has gone on to represent this conference in the BCS. But the Connecticut Huskies at 8-1, 4-0 in the league, are sitting atop the standings at this point. West Virginia, though, still controls its destiny. They get the Huskies here in a few weeks. In the meantime, though, West Virginia has business with the Cardinals in their own ballpark. Rich Rodriguez's team has never lost a home game at night. Chris Fowler, Doug Flutie, and Craig James. Well, this has been the game in the conference. Maybe some of the hype has come off because the Cardinals have struggled. But, guys, the Mountaineers still have plenty to play for. They want payback last year, first of all. They're playing for the conference title. And at number 7 in the BCS, they need an impressive victory tonight to stay in the running for the national title. They're really focused, though, on the Big East championship, but the national championship is still out there for them. This is a team, though, that has a guy that leads them in Pat White at quarterback. 22-3 in his 25 career starts. White's one of those guys that he can hurt you with his legs. He's very fast. He's mobile. He's excellent at reading the zone option. The zone quarterback read by West Virginia and Pat White is as good as it is in the country. The 9-touchdown passing, that really puts pressure on the defense. Doug, they can run it, they can throw it, and the guy in the backfield that he pitches the ball to is not bad either.
Yeah, when he decides not to run it himself, he's pitching it over to Steve Slayton. He has 13 touchdowns this year, and they're saying they're not getting the ball to him enough. Steve Slayton has over 800 yards this year. He's catching the ball a little out of the backfield. He is a threat to go all the way every time he touches the ball. Had a couple costly fumbles last year in this game, and he's just amazing. He's looking to bounce back from that game.
Well, that fires his motivation. It was the wrist injury and the fumbles that perhaps cost West Virginia the game at Louisville a year ago. The Cardinals, it's no secret, they've been very disappointing at 5-4, but Brian Brom, the senior quarterback, has had very impressive numbers. He's had his best year statistically.
Yeah, he's amazing. He is carrying the load for this offense. They have lost some games, but he has not slacked off at all. You see over 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, a 68% passer. They have over 500 yards a game. They're going to have a shootout tonight.
But you got to have the football in your possession for Brian Brom to go on the field. And, I could give you a lot of numbers about Louisville's defense. It really doesn't look good. This is a team that struggles defensively. They're trying to find guys who line up right and do their right assignments. So Louisville's defense, they're the one that's under the pressure tonight. They've got to find a way to slow down West Virginia's offense.
After a terrible start, they've gotten a little bit better the last couple of games, but they weren't playing against West Virginia. The Mountaineer defense also very motivated tonight. They know that Brom ripped them up last year. With more on their motivation, we go down on the field and Aaron Andrews.
They certainly are, Chris. They've had tonight's game circled on their calendar all year long. Now, don't let senior tackle Keelan Dykes fool you. He told us yesterday, it'd be a bigger game tonight if Louisville didn't come in at 5-4. Mountaineer defense, they're not even thinking about that. Why? Because guys like senior linebacker Mark Magro pulled his teammates aside this week and said, let's not forget about what happened last year. We went to Louisville and we were embarrassed. Magro explained, yes, this game means so much in the Big East, but it means even more when you talk about our pride. Chris?
All right, so the Mountaineers in all gold with a month of football still ahead and a whole lot to play for. Big favorites tonight against Louisville. Kickoff coming up. In the meantime, back to the studio, Reese Davis and company. In the Big East, this has been a marquee matchup. 2 years ago, the Mountaineers rallied from a 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter and conquered the Cardinals in 3 overtimes. In the 06 sequel, it was Louisville surviving a shootout, storming the field, paving the path to a BCS Bowl. Tonight's third edition features familiar stars, Pat White of West Virginia, his speedy sidekick, Steve Slayton, all directed by the maestro, Rich Rodriguez. Starring for Louisville, Brian Brom having his best year. He's directed by a first-year boss, Steve Cragthorpe. Louisville versus West Virginia, coming to a theater near you now. And welcome back to Morgantown as the flash bulbs glitter around Mountaineer Field. Here come the gold-clad Mountaineers. Back in '69, there were all gold uniforms on the road, but this is a first, and the fans showing their unity, also dressed in gold. Most of this sellout crowd here in Morgantown on a crisp November evening. Chris Fowler, Doug Flutie, Craig James, and Aaron Arias welcoming to what we hope is going to be a very entertaining Big East game. Certainly a lot at stake for the Mountaineers. Temperatures 40 degrees. It'll dip into the 30s, but no precipitation at this point. That had been feared in the last 24 hours. That's good news for the offenses.
Well, that's because yesterday there were snow flurries, little spits of snow coming down, and so at first you thought they might have an impact on the game, but now it's not.
This is the first year for Steve Cragthorpe. He was the boss at Tulsa. Hasn't been very successful, 5-4, but his team has played better on the road. Their biggest win of the season was at Cincinnati when the Bearcats were undefeated and ranked number 15. The Mountaineers very, very tough to beat, though, in Morgantown. Under Rich Rodriguez especially, they have not lost a night home game. And this place, as Mark May said, can be plenty hostile. Doug, you played here in Morgantown as a visitor. You know what he was talking about.
Yes, I have. I ran into an old foe down on the sideline. I was 0-2 here in Morgantown. Guy Tim Agee, who happened to pick off 5 passes in 3 years against me, and 4 of them here.
We talked about that epic game in '06. The scene was Papa John Stadium in Louisville in early November. Louisville ranked number 5, and Malik Jackson is here tonight. He would make a key fumble recovery for a touchdown. There's also a 40-yard punt return by Trent Guy, who's the returner for the Cardinals tonight. They got 2 non-offensive touchdowns. You saw the injury to Slayton. That was key, as he had a couple of fumbles. Cardinals didn't really stop the Mountaineer offense, but turnovers and special teams touchdowns and enough good play from Brian Brom, and they had a key win.
Well, and you know what? The turnovers were critical in that game, and it was one of those games where Steve Slayton's had it in the back of his head now for a while, wanting to have a chance at redemption, and you can't turn the ball over and give it back to Brian Brom.
But at times, it's the only way to stop this West Virginia offense is hope they make the mistake and turn the ball over, put it on the ground, make the bad decision. Pat White has only thrown 2 interceptions this year, so that doesn't happen very often.
White was knocked out of their one loss that was at USF, and guys, they had 6 of their 11 turnovers all year, 6 in that game.
I really felt like that South Florida played at a different speed. And in this game tonight, for Louisville, particularly on defense, they've got to play fast, and they can't allow themselves to sit back and let Pat White and Slayton get going, or they'll never catch them.
Yeah, we'll see if the Louisville offense can stake their team to a lead. The Cardinals will get the ball to open this game. And the crowd in the all gold ready to go. And there is Brom, the senior. Had pretty sparkling stats despite the struggles of his defense and his team. 26 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. But it'll be a tough environment tonight against, as Mark May pointed out, a very improved West Virginia defense. And this is Trent Guy, who had the return of the punt for a touchdown a year ago against the Mountaineers, but excellent coverage. Flying down is Charles Pugh, and the Cardinals will start at about their own 15-yard line. Brom decided to come back for his senior year. He told us no regrets, even though the team goals for the Cardinals will not be met. He has played well, and he showed scouts what he's about.
And I think you can learn a lot more about a guy when he's down and the adversity that he's had to overcome this year to keep his football team alive.
He showed his leadership throughout this whole thing, and his numbers don't fade at all, and he picks it up, actually, and it's on his shoulders tonight to drive this team up and down the field and keep up with West Virginia.
Crowd on its feet and roaring in the first play of the game for the Cardinals. It's a play-action fake. Brom fires near side, a very short completion, and fighting up toward the first down marker is Gary Barnage, the tight end, making his 42nd catch of the season. It's a team effort to introduce you to the Louisville offense tonight.
Starting up front with our Hogs, we have our center, Eric Woody the Woodpecker Wood.
For the Cardinals, it's a definition of a fast break offense. Quarterback Brian Brom provides a give, and the most underrated wide receiver in the country, Harry Douglas, provides a go.
Rick Pitino's been very supportive of Cragthorpe and his struggles in his first season. They do pick up the first down, and now it's Brock Bolin powering ahead. So Bolin, part of that running back rotation as basketball coach Bob Huggins gets equal time to the defense.
Anchoring the defensive line is Big Keelan Dykes and sack leader Johnny Dingle. And from my hometown of Morgantown, at linebacker Mark Magro. Defensive backs are led by Ryan Monday and Eric Wicks.
Only allowing 262 yards, but Louisville, a couple of quality plays in the early going here. Sets up a 2nd and 3. Braun, pressure at the middle, fires, incomplete. He was trying to find his top target, Harry Douglas, but good pressure from Dykes and Dingle.
Jeff Castile, defensive coordinator at West Virginia, really wants to find a way to force Braun to move his feet in the pocket. And if they can put pressure with 4 up front, then they'll have a good night defensively.
Yeah, the trick is out of that defense, 3-3-5, where's the extra rusher coming from? And from an offensive standpoint, picking up those guys, it's hard to decipher sometimes the looks.
Brom's been pretty well protected, only sacked 14 times this season. 3rd and 3. They hand it to Bolin, who's tripped up across the 35. I don't think they're going to give him yardage on the spot. Morty Ivy, the linebacker with the tackle. They'll be short. They're calling for a measurement that didn't really seem necessary.
Well, it was an encouraging beginning to this drive. Nice plays. The one running play on a cutback was very well blocked.
They've had trouble running the ball the last few games, guys. That's made it harder for Brom. They've had under 400 yards total offense in back-to-back games against Connecticut and Pittsburgh. That's the first time that it happened under Brom. And one of the reasons they're not running it well, and they didn't get it that time.
There you go. They're not running it real well. They're not having great vision by their backs. Offensive line's not bad. Watching them on tape, watching them play, they do a pretty nice, good job. But the backs, at times, not really using their eyes and their vision to find the holes.
Corey Getchie on to punt. This is Vaughn Rivers, the dangerous returner for the Mountaineers, who will win the special teams battle tonight. Edge went to the Cardinals in last year's meeting, and that was important in their home field victory. Rivers, 12.1. Very respectable average. Mountaineers peel back, try to set up a return. Pretty good kick from Getchie. And Rivers hammered, hit instantly. And West Virginia will set up inside their 20-yard line as Pat White brings the offense out for the first time tonight. White's been doing the majority of the running as well as the throwing. They haven't had as many touches for Slayton, and White's been active. That's what the defense has been giving them.
That's right, because the defense are going to take the ball out of one of the quarterback or the pitchback's hands, and they're thinking that maybe defensively you would rather have Pat White running it, and he's done a nice job with it on the ground.
I think the stat that stands out there is 70% passing the ball this year. He's been exceptional in both categories.
1 for 656 as well, 6.8 per rushing attempt. You see Steve Slayton, White's buddy, lined up to his right. And it's a throw too high for Darius Raynon. And Huggins, like Rodriguez, a West Virginia alum, back with the offense.
Point guard of the offense is Pat White. Behind him, Steve Slayton, a guy I'd love to have on the front of the press. And Owen Smith, a big, tough guy, could definitely guard the post. Paving the way for them up front is Ryan Stanchek and Greg Isden.
2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Owen Schmidt and Slayton change positions. This is Slayton. Flag flies after a short loss on the play. Slayton hasn't had the kind of stats he had a year ago. And a chop block called on the Mountaineers. That came from left field, that flag.
You don't see that very often, though, and that's one of those that coaches really watch and try to stress to the ref before the game. Watch out for it.
Illegal block, roll the waist. Number 83 on the offense. Penalty is half the distance to the goal from the line of scrimmage. Repeat the down.
They got the receiver, Tito Gonzalez. And they'll move the ball back inside the 10.
Louisville committed 9 guys to the run there. It was no free safety in the middle of the field. Everyone up near the line of scrimmage. They're going to force Pat White to throw the football.
There's a penalty.
Should be an outside-in block. Yep. Coming from outside in, you cannot go below the waist.
2nd and 19. White stays in the pocket, throws downfield. Raynon battling for the football, intercepted. Intercepted by Deion Palmer. So they test the Cardinals deep with their top receiver Raynon, but Deion Palmer with his first pick of the season.
Well, Louisville decided to go with the nickel package to start this football game, and they really wanted to come up and force the issue to see if they couldn't get a throw down the field. And then a great job of Palmer of taking the football out of the air.
Palmer was just one-on-one all the way down the field. No safety help. Gets his head around to find the football. Pretty amazing catch.
Wait a second.
Because he turns his head
did the ball hit
at the last
ground?
second.
Did it hit the ground, though?
He didn't catch the ball cleanly, but I don't know if it hit the ground up.
Wait a second. Here come the officials now. Just before the Cardinals could snap the ball, which would have taken the replay out of play. They will take a look at this.
We got to get Fowler a red flag up here.
Well, that was late to the field. I mean, the guy.
Watch the ball carefully.
Yeah, that's ground. That's not an interception.
That would be a little help from the ground, from the green stuff.
Louisville know it. They ran out there quickly, and whenever you do that, it just seems like the officials are going to blow the whistle just on principle. Well, wait a second. Not so fast, my friends.
Sending up that flare that something's going on.
But, you know, the strategy, though, of Louisville's defense to come out in this game, you're going to be up bunched in the box, but having an extra defensive back there in case Pat White throws the ball down the field, that ball clearly bounces on the grass.
I don't know. We've been wrong before trying to judge what the replay officials would do on a Thursday night. This is the better angle here. Yeah, and it does appear clearly they hit the ground.
Well, we know what we see.
We're always clear up here. We doesn't always mesh with the booth next door.
Yeah, it's leather.
If the call is overturned, it'll be 3rd and 19 for the Mountaineers, still back inside their 10.
Again, though, 2 out of those 3 first offensive plays for West Virginia, the Louisville defense had no safety in the middle of the field, and they're taking their chances with the speed of the West Virginia receivers.
They're inviting the throw. They feel like with that extra back there that they can match up and try to take some opportunities away from Pat White.
Here you see Palmer. He's the senior from Thompson, Georgia.
The ruling on the field is reversed. The ball hit the ground. There's an incomplete pass. It will be 3rd down at the 9-yard line.
So what would have been Pat White's 3rd interception of the season is nullified. They almost got away with it, but just before they ran that offensive play, the whistle.
Nice night here. All yellow, gold
rush.
What's your verdict on the all yellow or all gold uniforms? A little bright for you?
It's there. It's loud.
Rodriguez has a group called the 12 Apostles. It's a kind of a players' council, and he always asks them, what do you guys want to wear? And they said, let's go all gold for this one. And Louisville had the blackout for their crowd a year ago in the meeting. So, 3rd and 19. Empty backfield, 5 receivers for White. He dumps it off short. This is Slayton. And a short game. Slayton's good at making guys miss, but he would have had to make 4 or 5 miss to get that first down. Malik Jackson would need Turan on the stop.
Nice start by Louisville's defense just to get them off the field. You know, this is every series that Louisville's defense can go out and force a punt is a bonus for Brian Brohm.
That's a win. We're getting the ball back. We're getting the ball back to our offense and keeping their offense on the sideline.
The illegal block, of course, the key play in that series. And here comes Pat McAfee, the junior punter, who also does the place kicking and the kicking off. And back deep is Trent Guy. Guy took that punt back for a touchdown. 40 yards in last year's meeting. Rugby punt from McAfee, who booms this one out of bounds. That's taken just inbounds by Guy, who tries to get the corner. And what a job by McAfee and the coverage team. Wow. Number 40 does his job. And not very good field position for Brohm and the Cardinals when you come back. This game being broadcast on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro. Festive atmosphere here in Morgantown, West Virginia, what's become a really good series in the Big East. It's the third year in the conference for Louisville, but already Mountaineer fans have built up a healthy dislike for the guys from the Ville. Anthony Allen, who's been struggling lately, is the tailback. Brom fakes it to him on first down, fires, complete. And we expect this guy to be very busy tonight. Harry Douglas, the senior, guy who's caught now 158 passes in his career, 56 on the season. That one good for 17 yards. Douglas has had a great year, Doug. You saw that on tape today.
Watching some film on him today, and his releases off the line of scrimmage, his speed and quickness in and out of cuts. He's a very reliable guy with great hands as well as the speed. He really impressed me.
He's now caught a pass in 23 consecutive games. He's third in the nation, by the way, in yards per game. This time they fake the pass and hand it off to Anthony Allen for a very short gain. And he's a sophomore from Tampa who's struggled in the last few games to get anything going on the ground.
You start looking at Brom's numbers as a starter. I think the leadership clearly there. The 67 touchdown passes indicative of the way he can find a way to get his team in the end zone. And
just watching him throw that last ball to Douglas, he turned it loose. Douglas was open. A lot of quarterbacks would just give it to him. He went ahead and snapped it and gave it to him in a hurry. Just very confident in his throws.
Mario Urrutia, number 7 in the ballgame at the bottom of your screen on 2nd and 9. Brom fires to the left and misfires over the head of Douglas.
This is a problem here. Louisville went in, they scouted themselves, they did the self-scout, and when they talked about what was happening on first down, they've been very poor. They have success throwing the ball on the first down, but they can't run it. This series here, this next set of downs here, they had a first down run, no success. Now they're behind schedule. They have to throw the ball.
Here comes the noise on 3rd and 9. Tight end Barnage at the top of the formation. 3 receivers to work with. Allen is the tailback. Pressure from the outside. Brom steps up complete, but being pulled down short of the first down yardage. Is the ball loose? They're saying no fumble. They'll spot it at the 45, though. Again, a yard short of the first down. J.T. Thomas on the stop. Second time the Cardinals coming up just a little bit short of that yellow line.
To carry on a little bit about that first down and how important it is to this Louisville football team. When they're scouting themselves at 3rd and 6 or less, they're 50% on third down conversions. When it's 3rd and 9 or more, they're only 27%. Just not being able to convert third downs has been a problem when it's more than 3rd and 6.
Rivers back to receive the Getchy punt. Calls a fair catch at the 22-yard line. No shootout so far. Both defenses doing their job. Still early in the first quarter in Morgantown. That's a good way to beat the traffic. There's a lot of congestion going to Mountaineer Field. You can take a little personal mass transit.
You mean while we
That's
stood
actually more personal mass transit.
We sat in traffic.
Trains, yeah.
Yesterday, and we watched that little thing go by.
Yeah. Well, the first 3 plays of the game from West Virginia, all passes. This will be the first run of the night. White keeps it, steps up very quickly, picks up about 4. Lamar Miles on the stop.
The guy's quick. I'm telling you, man, it's a different gear. And Louisville's real challenge is trying to step up quickly and recognize and make the proper adjustments with the angles to the tackle, because you can't simulate it in practice with your scout team.
Well, it's assignment football. You got to be in the right place at the right time, and then you have to make the tackle on guys like White and Slayton in space.
They'll throw on 2nd and 7. Flip it out in space, and Brandon Hogan, one of the talented newcomers, the freshman, takes it out near the 44 first down as Patino and Earl Heyman, the tackle combo on the defensive lineups.
Starting off with the G unit, we have myself, Earl Heyman.
The PTP are in the linebacker Lamar Miles. He'll be looking for another great game with double-digit tackles.
Last, we have the Duct Tape Boys, led by corner Rod Council.
We mix it up here at Louisville.
The Duct Tape Boys.
Duct Tape Boys.
Explain that one. White fires near side. Raynaud makes the catch and makes a man miss. Darius Raynaud across midfield. He's almost the forgotten man. He's been a key guy for 3 years here, number 2. 20-yard gain. He shows his speed.
Well, he is a former running back, so this is just an extension of the backfield. And this is what the West Virginia offense does so well. They can hurt you inside and outside with Raynaud and the quick pass.
That was Rod Council, the cornerback, who faked out of his jock, and now Slayton around the corner. A flag comes down as Slayton breaks into the secondary and down inside the 10. But this one may be coming back. He didn't grab him, is what the you can lip read for Rodriguez. It is a hold, though. And we'll see if we can catch the hold. It nullifies a 35-yard run by Slayton.
Holding, number 62 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
Junior tackle Ryan Stanchek deemed guilty by the official. You see, you can make your own judgment here. To the left side.
Left side, left tackle gets good body position. All he has to do is drive. I don't think it is. That's a terrible call.
I don't see that as a call there.
That's great footwork by a
excellent
guy
body position.
Stanchek's their best guy up front, and he did an awesome job of getting his body in front of him.
Nevertheless, a second major penalty on the Mountaineers crucial. 1st and 20 instead of 1st and goal inside the 10. Steve Slayton's in the slot to the near side. It's a new look. And they'll just run it out of this formation. White takes a big hit in the secondary from Palmer. But a good gain on 1st and 20.
Tackled by Dion Palmer.
It's just not fair. Louisville decides, look, we're going to put a safety in the middle now. You know, we got burned. The guy missed the tackle in the open field, so we're going to put a guy back there. Now, from a numbers standpoint, with White running the ball, you can block everyone.
Well, this is what's really interesting about the spread offense. When they put Owen Schmidt, that fullback, back there, they can still run the option, but they also have a lead fullback. Now White becomes a tailback following Schmidt in the lane.
Now Schmidt out of the game. 4 receivers, and Slayton next to White on 2nd and 11. Hand it off. Slayton breaks a tackle. Shows some strength to go with that speed. Gets down near the 36 before Malik Jackson stops him. There's Jackson, who's had a troubled year. It was a big year last year. Had 9 sacks for this defense. Only has 1 sack this season. One of the reasons why this Louisville defense has struggled is number 11 has struggled. 3rd and 5. White dropped the football as he was going to throw it. Now takes the safe route and falls on it.
Let me tell you why that's a big play for Louisville. The obvious, yes, on the field, but this is a team that traveled 25 players on defense. And so this hot potato that runs through Pat White's hand really helps this defense get off the field, man. They don't have depth out there tonight.
I think it's the other way around. It's a little bit cool out tonight. The ball might feel a little slick on his hand there, and it just slipped right out.
Yeah,
but
like
cold
you said, hands and hot
down a distance, man. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They got to make the mistake. West Virginia's going to make the mistake to get themselves off the field. You're not going to stop them.
Made a few mistakes in the early going. A 13-yard loss. Gets the ball back to midfield, and now here's McAfee trying to pin the Cardinals deep. Fair catch made by Trent Guy at about the 15-yard line. So 2 penalties and that drop ball by White. That's what stopped the drive so far. And again, West Virginia really hadn't stopped themselves, or hadn't been stopped by other people much this year. They've stopped themselves. You punted less than 30 times as a team. You're doing something right.
Yeah, doing something right. But I go back, the tempo of West Virginia's offense is going to put pressure on Louisville's defense to stay out there and get ready to go. And with not a lot of depth traveling with you, that could be an issue.
Well, Louisville's just got to make the tackle. West Virginia's going to make their plays. Just don't let them get the big one and wait for them to make a mistake to get themselves off the field.
Play action fake. Down the middle, broke it up. Brom was looking for Barnage, the tight end, and a strong play by Eric Wicks dropping into coverage.
The ball just seems to find Wicks. He's got a knack for getting to the ball. He's running with a tight end down the field that Brom says, hey, we got a tight end that can get up the field and make plays for us downfield. Wicks is stride for stride with him.
This Pat White, guys are looking at his hand. The trainers checking things out. Maybe that played a role in him just dropping the ball in that last play. White has been knocked out of some games. Jarrett Brown would be the backup as they hand it off straight ahead. Short gain. Keelan Dykes on the stop. Here's another look at the play, the drop.
I just think over to his right-hand side, he's trying to rotate the ball to get the seams, and the ball just slides out.
This looks like he maybe hasn't broken a sweat yet to get that grip on the ball.
Let's go to Aaron for more.
Yeah, as you guys can see, they're having Pat White grip the football. But now, interesting enough, early in this season, he was dealing with a thumb injury. His most latest injury, guys, has been that chest and shoulder injury he sustained a couple weeks ago. But Coach Rich Rodriguez said as of yesterday, he was doing fine. So that'll obviously be something we keep an eye on.
Sure will. And 3rd and 6, ball pressured and sacked for just the 15th time this season. Zach Cooper, the backup linebacker on the blitz.
That's the key to stopping Brom. They got him off the field last time in a 3rd and long situation with the blitz and forced him to get rid of the ball quickly. This time they get to him with pressure.
I go back to it again. This is all about down and distance for this offense. They're just not comfortable on 3rd down as a whole. And the scouting report came back to them as real as it could be.
0 for 3 on 3rd down tonight. And Getchy again on the punt. Mountaineers bring pressure. Getchy gets it away. Rivers gambles, catches the ball and gets hammered. He'll lose yardage on the return. And the Mountaineers will start from about their 44-yard line. Defense is doing their job tonight. No points so far in Motown. Mountaineers ranked number 7 in the BCS. They've been there for a few weeks, trying to protect home turf against Louisville. BCS and Big East implications. Mountaineers and their fans know that while other teams may be staring at the finish line in the next couple of weeks, they have a month of football left. 3 games after tonight. 3 out of the final 4 are right here at home. Slayton in the slot for the first time tonight. The Mountaineers start with good field position at their 44. With a first down throw, White fires near side, and catching the ball on the slant is Gonzalez. Tito Gonzalez, just his 7th catch of the season, good for 18 yards.
You know, when you hear coaches around the country say, hey, we'd like to run the wide open, spread open, zone quarterback read, most of them hope they can get a quarterback who can run like White. Then you get a guy that can throw like that.
I mean, that was a legitimate slant route, regular pass play, no read involved there. That was drop back and throw the football.
And White up over the ball, the up-tempo attack that they hope to get the defense on its heels and negate the idea of personnel substitutions. It's Slayton. Steve Slayton turns the corner, makes a move, and has a first down near the 25. Council on the stop, 12 yards.
West Virginia wants to play in space with speed. Defense is spread out and bunched up. Tonight you're going to see a secondary that really is a lot of former offensive guys over there playing defense now, and they're just really trying to adjust to angles.
Slayton in the slot on first down. Cardinals show pressure with 3 men up the middle. White follows a blocker, turns the corner, and gets down inside the 10. They bring pressure up the middle, and White goes, I'm going around the corner.
You bring the safety up into the box. You got everybody up in there saying, we dare you to run the ball, and there goes Schmidt leading the way for White.
Big guy Schmidt. It's like the lead fullback to the outside. Find somebody, big fella.
He couldn't even find anybody to block.
He did at the end. He found a defensive back that was in the wrong spot.
10 yards down the field.
186-pound corner Johnny Patrick fell the wrath of Owen Schmidt. First and goal. It's Slayton. Slayton, good job with the Cardinal defense. They string him out, drop him for a loss. Malik Jackson.
One of my favorite guys in the country. Fullback, 35, Owen Schmidt. Power cleans, 525 pounds. And down the field, he's looking for somebody to put his face mask on.
He's been known to break a few face masks, right?
Yeah. Including his teammate, the linebacker's nose. Hey, this number up here, that's off the charts.
Can't tell from that picture there, but he's got a mohawk now. So it goes with the attitude, I guess, of being a fullback.
He was downplaying his accomplishments in the weight room, right? He told us, I got one big lift, basically. It's Schmidt next to White on second down. Pat White trying to find room. There isn't much.
Pat White on the run.
Oh, Schmidt, though, his linebacker buddy, Mark Magro, had a meeting with us yesterday. He's got the old busted-up nose. And we said, where'd that happen from? He goes, well, I hit Schmidt head-on in an ISO deal, and my helmet came down and on the bridge of my nose, busted it.
You got to realize they got to go head-to-head every day in practice. You talk about through training camps and everything else. How many times do you think Schmidt's hit him?
There's Magro.
3rd and goal from the 7. White still has it. Looks to the end zone. Wide open for a touchdown. Here's Darius Raynaud.
We've been saying how you have to play fast at Louisville tonight. Well, there's 2 phases to it. You got to play fast and you have to play smart. Pat White with a little lead here coming around to the side. He can run the football. You've got to come up and respect that. You lose secondary coverage.
You know, he had the opportunity. He might have been able to split those defenders to get in the end zone. But you know what? He said, this is just too easy. I'm going to throw it to the back of the end zone and get a touchdown pass out my rating.
Pat McAfee now 41 of 42 on the year PATs. And Raynaud collects his 9th touchdown reception this season. It's a 56-yard drive in 6 plays. He played pretty good defense throughout the whole first quarter. Played excellent defense on the goal line, but then one little slip up when you saw Deion Palmer, the safety, with Raynaud behind him.
Yeah, you know what? And we kind of hit on this just a little bit earlier, but it's one of those situations where Bobby Petrino, the former coach at Louisville, used to recruit a lot of offensive guys, and if they didn't pan out on offense, they went over to defense. And Crackthorpe's like, look here, man, we got some guys in the secondary that are former offensive guys and aren't really good at coming up and knowing how to tackle.
Well, that's kind of a problem, isn't it?
The biggest problem is the mentality of wanting to hit and stick your nose in there, especially in the secondary. Guys coming up and trying to tackle these receivers. You know, a lot of arm tackles, grabbing, reaching, bad angles, things that, you know, look like a quarterback chasing a guy on an interception.
The defensive coordinator not changed. Mike Cassidy has been here, and this is his 4th season. He was the D coordinator under Petrino, stayed under Craigthorpe, but it's been a little bit of a tough year for Cassidy and for his defense for lots of reasons. They had been starting to play much better football the last couple of weeks, giving their offense a chance to win at least.
They're trying to find guys who know how to line up correct. You know, when you see a lot of guys running around right before the snap, and they just haven't been synced up this season.
There's a kickoff by McAfee. It's going to come to Trent Guy near the goal line. He drops it. Guy finds a little crease. A flag is down. There's a battle going on to the 35-yard line. A little bit of a scrum. Easy, fellas. Another flag comes in as this thing threatens to get out of hand. You mentioned there's not a lot of love between these teams. Only the 3rd year in the Big East for Louisville, but it's built up pretty quick.
Yeah, you can't quite call it a rivalry yet.
No.
It's just a grudge match for a little while. But the emotion, I think, is going to help Louisville. I think they've got to come out in this drive, show some toughness, and go after it. Brom obviously has it on his shoulder to answer that touchdown drive of West Virginia.
We'll sort out the penalties here. First, there was kind of a one-on-one battle between a blocker and a coverage guy at the 35. Then some other guys got involved. There may be 2 fouls here.
During the return, holding, number 2 on the return team, 10-yard penalty from the end of the play. After the play was over, personal foul on the receiving team, personal foul on the kicking team. The penalty's offset. It will be first down.
So there were 3 flags. Rich Ragland on the hold, and that'll move things back.
Well, it starts out, looks like it's going to be disaster. Right in here, we go. Got your eyes here in the middle.
2-on-1.
Mug. That's a mugging.
Both of them had a hand on his back. Either one of them independently, it's a hold. Collectively, it was a double hold and just a body slam.
Pat Lazier, West Virginia got double teamed, but the hold sets the Cardinals back at their 15-yard line on 1st and 10. Brom play action. Looking downfield, down the middle, throws into traffic. There were 4 Mountaineers surrounding Douglas.
You know what? Those penalties, Coach Rodriguez, he wants hard, tough playing, but he wants smart playing.
Love to see that. Pull your guys back, get it back under control. That last decision by Brom, by the way, going down the middle of the field was not a great decision.
Calmer approach from Cragthorpe.
He had a few guys running with the receiver down the field and the safeties over the top. There was not too much of a window to pick a ball in there.
Boy, Doug, I know he wants to find Douglas, but he's throwing into some traffic. Here's George Stripling getting his turn as a ball carrier. Gets out across the 20. I mean, number 85 has been a productive player, outstanding player, but the Mountaineers are keeping a close eye on him tonight.
You know, Brom went a little play action and wanted to go down the middle, but Wick can run with these receivers. He can come up and play. Wicks comes up to the linebacker position and can run with people down the middle of the field and stay with them.
Manageable now situation in third down. They are, for the season, 50% when it's 3rd and 6 or less. So this is the situation they want to be in here. Gives them more options.
Haven't converted yet on a 3rd down tonight. 0 for 3. Stripling as the back next to Brom. Good protection. Brom fires to Douglas. The ball's loose. Comes loose. West Virginia jumps on it. Ruled a catch and a fumble. Mountaineer football.
On every 3rd down so far, West Virginia's been bringing pressure, bringing a 5, a 6-man rush. This time they changed it up.
Well, they changed it up this time here. They come with the outside, and you've got end men coming, and you're going to have 3 that drop from the middle of the field. So you're getting more folks in the middle of the field to defend the inside route. Great job of Douglas in finding the ball. Just got to hold on to it.
Nice conversion. Tuck it away and get down. Know when your journey is over, Craig. Find the ground.
So West Virginia at the 25-yard line. White takes a deep drop. And he'll throw over the head of Slayton. Slayton working one-on-one against Preston Smith, the linebacker. Well, NASCAR coverage continues next week in Phoenix. The NASCAR Busch Series on ESPN2 Saturday at 4 Eastern. And the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at Phoenix on ABC at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. It's getting down to it. Teammates Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. Johnson jumping ahead of Gordon, leading by 30 points as they head to Phoenix. And it'll all wrap up in Miami. 2nd and 10 for the Mountaineers. White keeps it and navigates for a short gain. It'll set up about 3rd and 6 as we head back to the studio for the first time. A 30 at 30 update with Reese Davis.
All right, Chris, one of 2 memorabilia dealers allegedly robbed by O.J. Simpson testified at a hearing on Thursday that Simpson and several other men burst into a hotel room. One of them had a gun and carried off hundreds of collector's items. This hearing just to determine whether the men will be sent to trial. Sports Center after the game. Stay current, ESPN News.
Reese, thank you. 3rd down and 6. White fires over the middle. Incomplete. He was looking for Tito Gonzalez. Now a flag comes in. Rod Council got there a little bit early, says the official.
That's from the other side of the field that flag's being thrown from. Kind of makes you wonder how the heck he saw that all the way across.
Really makes you wonder. Council broke on the ball. It was bang, bang. It might be interference. It's real close. He reaches around, hits it. I think it's a great play. The flag comes from the opposite corner over here somewhere.
Easy, big fella.
Gonzalez didn't even turn to complain about it, did he?
No.
He wouldn't even think it was interference. Crucial penalty instead of a field goal attempt. Now the Mountaineers set up 1st and goal, 9-yard line.
What you think, big boy? Was that interference?
I didn't like the call.
I formation. That's a rarity for the Mountaineers. Schmidt in front of Steve Slayton. White still has it. Fires. Complete. Touchdown right on number 2 for number 2.
Twice now, the pressure from Pat White on the corner. The threat of running with a fullback in front of him to lead block, should he opt for that, has put a lot of pressure on this Louisville defense. And then you got Raynaud, who's doing a great job at finding the opening. Look at Schmidt in the middle protecting.
The quickness of his release and putting the ball on the money. It's just a great threat, runner throw, on the move, pulling up and throwing.
McAfee makes it 14-0. We're used to seeing the Mountaineers piling up huge rushing totals. Only 42 yards rushing so far in this first quarter, 72 passing.
You know what? The ability for Pat White to see it and immediately let it go. Kind of, one of the trademarks of a Matt Ryan. You know what? Matt Ryan, BC, gets rid of the ball quick. Here they are trying to make sure that they limit this. Rich Rodriguez came from the sidelines as well, and he said, hey, get over here, let's go. Let's don't get out of control.
That wasn't out of control. Don't get me started, Flutie. I know you're going to say they should throw a flag on everything.
That's right.
Come on.
Sit them all down. No. Have emotion. Be excited. Jump up and down. Celebrate with your teammates on the way to the sideline. But don't just stand there and parade in the end zone.
Beautiful aerial pictures of this all-gold stadium brought to you by Goodyear. Football's rough. Your commute shouldn't be, so get there on Goodyear Silent Armor technology. 14 points in a minute 56 for the Mountaineers. The Keelan Dykes recovery of the Douglas fumble sets up a 25-yard three-play drive.
Wasn't it Keelan Dykes who said to us about the emotions of this game and the rivalry and all that stuff? Do a little jab at Louisville, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bulletin board material.
Be better if they weren't 5-4, he said.
We cracked up, man.
He's right, though, isn't he? Yeah. I think they wanted Louisville to come in here 9-0. They wanted to have everything on the line as it was last year when the Cardinals got them down to Papa John's. Louisville coming in here as a spoiler. Now you have to wonder. They haven't played bad football on defense, but they find themselves in a 14-zip hole, and Brom hadn't gotten going yet. There's a good look at our man, Schmidt.
Yeah, that's a real Mohawk.
It's a real man.
Trent Guy at the goal line. And he fights out near the 25 as we get down to Aaron Andrews.
Well, Chris, another guy that had hoped Louisville would come in here 9-0 is, of course, their quarterback, Brian Brom, returned this season when he could have gone to the NFL, but his head coach, Steve Crapthorpe, said the biggest reason why he will be successful in the league next year is because of all the adversity he's gone through. And he's also been able to accomplish some things, like been able to manufacture some plays. That's something Coach said he didn't do last year. Brian told us himself he's making decisions faster. He's getting the ball out quicker. And, I just watched him over here on the sidelines. Very, very calm, making sure Harry Douglas, his wide receiver, is okay. It's really, really poised over here on the sideline.
Now he'll have to be. Louisville, 5th possession already, haven't marched past their own 45. George Stripling a first down run. Tough one, a quarterback, when you can't generate much on the ground. Scooter Berry. The stop.
They're a running play on first down that is a positive game. Keeps you in down and distance. Pick up 4 yards there, 3 to 4 yards. That's all right. You just can't come up 2nd and 10. Now 2nd and 7, you can manage that situation.
Final minute of the first quarter. Louisville trying to answer. Hard part about getting into a deficit against the Mountaineers, you got to break serve against their offense to try to get back in the game. Barnage, the tight end, collects it out across the 45. Hangs on, a big hit delivered there by Antonio Lewis.
But you know what, Doug, going back to what Steve Cracthorpe said about Brian Brom and being able to go into a locker room in the NFL, you don't win all the time in the NFL. And so you got to know how to handle adversity and to pick up the team around you.
Especially when you're a top draft choice, you're going to the teams that are picking 1st or 2nd. Unless a great team happens to trade up and needs a quarterback for some reason, chances are you're going to a team that's not going to win right away, and you're going to have to learn to deal with that.
We'll talk more about potential draft prospects for Brom as the night unfolds. In the meantime, on first down, stop for a loss is Stripling. That try a little wrinkle there, and the Mountaineer defense just storms in there. There's our guy Magro, the hometown Morgantown hero, the guy who grew up going to these football games, not watching them necessarily, playing football outside, and then go down and begging for players' gloves after the game.
He's the one that has the bridge of his nose busted up because of Schmidt,
Well, so far it's the Cardinals getting busted up in Motown, 14-0 for the all gold-clad guys after the first quarter. Louisville's powerful offense generating just 69 yards in the first quarter. The turnover setting up the Mountaineers for the short field and a 14-0 lead against Craig Thorpe's team. Got to make something happen pretty quickly, you get the feeling. Anthony Allen is the tailback to the left of Brian Brom. 2nd and 15. Brom fires over the middle, complete. In traffic, hauling it in is Douglas, who shakes off the fumble and takes the ball down near the 36-yard line. Gain of 23.
When you have a quarterback like Brian Brom, you're never out of a football game. You can always get back into it. And, you know, Doug, you just saw right there a classic example of a quarterback knowing where his receiver was going and waiting till the linebackers got out of position.
He basically threw the ball around the linebacker into the hole, and it's the same throw he tried to make a couple other times. This time Wicks couldn't stay stride for stride with Douglas. He ended up getting a 2 or 3 step lead on him, and Brom had the big completion. Move the football, do not turn it over, control the football.
Cross midfield for the first time. Brom pressured again and sacked for the 2nd time tonight. Just a short loss. Johnny Dingle, his 7th sack of the season, the leader in that department.
Well, sometimes the eye above can show you exactly what the quarterback's seeing from below, but they're covered up really down the middle of the field. Doubling up, you're going to see in the middle of the field, you're going to see double coverage bracket, nothing there, doubled underneath. One receiver goes down on the ground, and that's been a problem. Inconsistency and dependability from his receivers.
Johnny Dingle's the trash talker in this defense. He said when he makes a play, he wants his teammates to surround him. That's what Rodriguez wants, so he won't talk trash to the other team. On 2nd and 12, it's a screen. Stripling strips away from a tackler, and George Stripling, a first down inside the 20 of the Mountaineers. Poor tackling there. Quentin Andrews finally forcing him out. Screen effective.
Very effective on the screen, and it's for a quarterback. You love these type plays where it's a freebie for you. Get it in your back's hands. Great job in the open field, making a guy miss and getting a positive gain, and you didn't have to work too hard.
Danny Barlow, number 63, the left guard, outside with a fabulous block to clear Stripling, giving him a chance up the field.
Stripling in the I formation. It's Douglas in motion. It is Stripling again. Not much. Scooter Berry off the edge. It'll be a short loss.
A couple of weeks ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago or so, there was the question of whether or not West Virginia's defense was capable or good enough of winning a national championship. And they're quick to say around here, this defense plays a lot better this season because they're playing with confidence, and particularly at the linebacker level.
The talk was that this year they've played more coverage. They haven't come after the quarterbacks as much, and as much blitzing and man-to-man. They're playing more coverage, making teams be patient and try to march the football, and they're creating turnovers.
Yeah, Brom said a lot harder to figure out what the Mountaineers are going to do this year than it was last year, just from watching tape in preparation for this game. Brom steps up, fires for the end zone, touchdown. Gary Barnage, the tight end, his 7th touchdown reception of the season, and the Cardinals a much-needed answer to the Mountaineers' touchdown.
Great job by the big tight end getting down the middle field. Excellent job of patience by the quarterback to wait for it to get open, and a fantastic job by the O-line giving them time to do so.
Brom on that drive, guys, 4 for 4, 82 yards. And Barnage, the senior with whom he has a real connection, middle of the field, takes it in from 18 yards. And conversion is good from Art Carmody. He has now made it 103 consecutive PATs, a record.
All right, let's go back and talk about Craig Thorpe on Brian Brom and how he's going to be able to handle adversity when he gets to the next level. But you see his tight end on the other side. Barnage is a real dependable receiver. He's excellent off the line of scrimmage. Great move to the outside. Call that a toast. Gets back to the middle of the field where there's no safety. Now, 4 for 4 on that drive. When you're down 14-0, that's answering the bell for you.
And 2 of them are big-time throws down the middle of the field where you can, it's a little dicey sometimes throwing it in there down the middle of the field, 20 yards up the field.
Not if you're good.
That late hit was a little dicey, too.
I thought it was late. I thought it was late live, but I didn't say anything because, you know how
Why, you thought he was going to jump on you?
I love to throw those. I thought so, too. That is a great answer, though, from Brom to get back within 7 right away.
And what Aaron was talking about, this guy's not going to panic being down 14-0 on the road. He has a lot of confidence in his ability, the ability of his receivers and his offense.
Yeah.
But it was critical because how many times are you going to stop West Virginia's offense if you fall in a hole?
Aaron told us about Brom on the sidelines and his composure. Be interesting to see what that defense is doing over there and what they're talking about on the sidelines.
Todd Flannery to kick off. Rivers and Raynaud are deep. Line drive kick. Raynaud will have a chance. There he is, Raynaud. Tough to bring down. He gets across the 30-yard line. Well, Saturday, number 1 ranked Ohio State cannot afford to look ahead to the showdown against Michigan. Illinois comes into the Horseshoe. Regional coverage on ABC at 3:30 Eastern Time. We'll see if the Noles, after beating BC, Doug, can get it done in Blacksburg. Texas Tech against Texas, and Arizona State trying to bounce back from the loss at Oregon against a very banged-up UCLA team. Check your local listings, 3:30 Eastern Time.
That Virginia Tech offense last week got going against Georgia Tech, and they got a tough decision to make Friday night. Sean Glennon or Tyrod Taylor at quarterback.
Use them both, I say. Both.
As long as Glennon's doing his thing like he did against Georgia Tech, leave him in there.
I use them both. White on the keeper. Ducks under for about 5.
Why don't we rotate centers every other play, too? You know, we'll just, flip-flop those guys.
You give that defense a lot to prepare for. And Mickey Andrews' crew, if you have a mobile guy, Taylor, and Glennon, who played so well at Georgia Tech.
Well, how about Drew Weatherford, though? Florida State goes to Boston College. Weatherford's a guy. I know we've watched Weatherford go up and down in his career.
Yep.
But I've also seen him have really good games like he did at Boston College last week. He can do it.
That was as good as I've seen him play. He was throwing the ball up the field, putting it on the money, showing composure. He had a great game.
On 2nd and 5, White fakes it to Slayton and finds Raynaud. Raynaud gets a little bit of a block, but he'll be pulled down short of the first down at the 40-yard line. What about Ohio State? Any danger you think of the look ahead there? The game at Champaign a year ago was a very tight, low-scoring game. Illinois came close to beating them, but in the Horseshoe, it's a different deal. A young team, Illinois.
Yeah, and it's so late in the season. I don't think Ohio State's going to look ahead. I mean, it's just next week, So, hey, get your job done today.
On 3rd and 1.
I think Mark Mayday, he went with that as the upset alert.
Illinois, well, upset alert's one thing, and calling for the upset. It's sure they're on alert as White picks up the first down over the left side. They lost 2 undefeated teams a week ago. It was Arizona State and Boston College losing, so now there are just 3. And Kansas has a real challenge in Stillwater, a shootout on ABC in primetime.
Absolutely. That was the game that I said watch out for, because Oklahoma State's a good team, talented team at home. It's a hostile environment. Kansas, but they've been methodical about it, just kind of going about their business.
Well, they had a disastrous record against the Big 12 South in Mangino's tenure before this year, but they've turned around a lot of history in one season in Lawrence. On first down, White keeps it again. Very simple play, lead blocker, gave 5 yards just like that.
That's the amazing thing. It looks like Louisville defended that pretty well. They were up in there. It's a first down run. They pick up 5 yards. I mean, that's good offense.
Noel Devine comes in the ball game, and that's a Peanut Whitehead, the very talented sophomore defensive end from Birmingham. He's one of the blue chip recruits that Petrino brought in. This would be a major loss for a defense that's already depleted by injury and attrition. They really can't afford Peanut Whitehead to go out. Maurice Mitchell, who also plays that position, is really banged up. And he's got a shoulder problem. So we'll check their injury to Whitehead. 14-7 Mountaineers. Back at Morgantown, 14-7 Mountaineers. There's Peanut Whitehead. I think he officially he got dinged. You see it right to the right of your screen, the helmet there.
Yeah, just the snap back of his neck, that old stinger in the neck, down the left shoulder. He could feel it right here. Oh man, keep your head up.
You see that so often though. Defensive players colliding with each other. The helmets. This is Noel Devine, the talented true freshman tailback to the left of White now on 2nd and 6. A pretty quiet night so far for Steve Slayton. There's 3 carries, and here is Devine. Very quick himself. He's got a first down to the 45. Malik Jackson on the stop. Devine, 5'8", 170 out of Fort Myers. All world in high school. 6,800 yards, 92 touchdowns.
So you wonder if Steve Slayton does move on to the NFL after this season, The cupboard's not bare.
No.
You know, they've got a guy. Now, the question is, can he handle 20, 25 carries a game?
Well, meanwhile, Pat White says he wants to talk to his buddy, and he'll have the suggestion for him. Why don't you stick around one more year, guy?
Math guy, right? Sudoku.
That's his hobby, right?
Yeah.
You can explain that
later
later
on. How he relaxes and calms down a little bit.
On first down, this is Schmidt. Owen hours ahead for
He's going to get a little nervous if Slayton takes off.
Well, we go to the meeting yesterday, you know, and Peanut's out there walking away. Well, that last play, though, whenever he got hit, you can hear it. Listen in on it. Wow.
Hear that plastic helmet to helmet. Whitehead heading for the locker room. 2nd and 6. Short gain for Slayton. Jackson on the stop.
Pat White, don't you enjoy? I mean, enjoy it. His personality starts out. You think he's maybe quiet and bashful. He's not bashful. Says he talks more smack on the field than anybody.
Yeah, his teammates say he's not that quiet on the football field. I think he's kind of shy off the field.
Well, he says he waits for them to start it, but then he'll finish it. He's not going to initiate, but if someone wants to talk with him, he'll talk right back.
On 3rd and 5, White rolls out, throws downfield, has a man. Leaping catch by Raynaud at the 10. Raynaud beat Bobby Buchanan for 31 yards. He's holding his leg. What a night for Darius Raynaud so far.
Well, Raynaud here, seeing the ball in the air, making the adjustment, coming back to it. Watch how he comes down. Oh, left leg, just kind of like a hyperextension there when he came back. Man, Slayton comes out with a block that gives the corner to Pat White and allows the time for Raynaud to get down the field.
He hit Jamar Miles, the linebacker. Again, keep an eye on the left knee here.
Oh, what a great job of going up for the football, though, and turning and seeing the ball in the air, reacting to it in the air. Like I said, with this offense, and Pat White running it the way he runs and takes off, and Slayton the way he takes off.
Raynaud is on his feet. That's a good sign, but he's walking very slowly. The guy who scored both of the Mountaineer touchdowns tonight.
Be able to throw the ball the way they're throwing the ball as well just makes it unstoppable.
It's 1st and goal. Slayton and Schmidt flanking White. Slayton's got it. They're all over Steve Slayton tonight. He hasn't come close to really breaking through. Did have the long run nullified by the holding penalty earlier. But Slayton now 5 carries for 15 yards. That's it.
Well, Wes Lyons will go in and play a little wide receiver. He's a young receiver at 6'8". Big tall guy down here in the red zone. Get the ball up in the air. Top of your screen.
Handoff in the middle. White kept the ball. Stopped at the 5.
Man, is there any doubt that dude's trying to get to the goal line in the end zone when he's in there, Pat White?
I'll tell you, they're taking away the initial run by Slayton, forcing White to pull the ball and become the runner. White handled the ball 19 out of the first 22 snaps of this game, and Slayton's not getting his touches because the defense is taking him away first.
3rd and goal, empty backfield. Schmidt is a tight end, left of the formation. White fighting down near the goal line, stopped at about the 1. It'll be 4th and goal. Brandon Cox on the stop, and the crowd is yelling for the Mountaineers to go for it. There's an injured Cardinal in the end zone. That's what the delay is. What do you think? Go for it here?
I think at home up 14-7. Confidence in your offense against their defense. But I got to tell you, man, Louisville's defense is playing a lot faster today than you would have thought.
Brandon Cox, the defensive end, who's being looked at by the training staff.
But this is the type of drive you want to make West Virginia execute. You want them to have to march the ball down the field. It's been 11 plays for 68 yards, and wait for them to make the mistake, whether it's a penalty, a turnover, a sack, something to cause a negative play to stop the drive. You just got to keep them from getting those big chunks of 40 yards.
Rodriguez's team hasn't made the mistake, though, in this drive.
Taking it down, now it's a 4th and 1 situation, and I would say they're going for it.
All right, while we wait and see what's going on here, the Applebee's weekend menu. We talked about these games. Auburn, Georgia, the great rivalry between the hedges.
That SEC East is kind of messed up over there, isn't it? Jumbled up.
Tennessee still controls its destiny. White in the game, so they're going to go for it on 4th and goal. Popular decision. Ball outside the 1-yard line.
I think I'd find a way to get behind number 35, Mr. Schmidt.
Well, they are in an I formation, so you can run a lead now with Schmidt up front of him.
260 pounds of fullback lined up in front of Slayton. Slayton walks in. Mountaineers answer the answering touchdown by Louisville. Doug, you said it, very well executed. 12-play drive, almost 6 minutes.
No mistakes. The way to be sure to get the ball in Slayton's hand, put a fullback in there and a tight end, and now we can give it to him no matter what.
McAfee makes it 21-7. Now we'll see if Brom and the Cardinals can answer once again. Tough to break serve against this offense. First touchdown for Slayton tonight.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, driven to thrill, and Olivia, award-winning high-definition television.
Nice fall afternoon, folks behaving themselves, going to class, doing what you're supposed to do. Then you get over to the football stadium at night, and it gets a little gnarly, a little different scene in here.
The atmosphere here can get pretty rowdy in a hurry. I've learned that from experience.
21-7. It's been the Pat White show as a ball carrier and a passer. 2 touchdown passes to Raynard, and we'll check and see what his status is. Meantime, the kickoff is a short pooch kick. Fielded at about the 25. One of the up men, Brock Boland, in a very short return. So Brom and the offense, after that really crisp touchdown drive a few minutes ago, suddenly they're right back in a 14-point hole.
And they had a couple of real nice shots down the middle of the field, so we'll see if West Virginia makes an adjustment to get back and to read the routes that they're running up the middle of that field.
Barnage, the tight end, has caught 3 balls. Harry Douglas has 4 catches tonight. It's really been those 2 receivers. Mario Urrutia has been injured and had a troubled junior season, has been shut out so far. Stripling in the backfield as Brom drops back and fires very short over the middle. Going to the ground to catch the ball is Scott Long, his first catch tonight. Aaron, by the way, tells us from the sidelines that Raynard appears to be okay, and that's good news for the Mountaineers, to say the least.
He's been a big threat in the passing game, and he's their downfield threat as a receiver and on those bubble screens when he gets that ball in his hands.
There's Urrutia bringing the play in, Craig. This is a guy with a lot of talent. He's a big 6'6 receiver, a homegrown guy, but hasn't been very productive this year by his standards. Missed a lot of action. They really need him to make this offense top shelf. There's a short pass over the middle to Stripling. The back is about 2 yards short of a first down. Magro combining with Reed Williams on the stop.
And when you watch Urrutia run his routes and you talk about his health and everything, he's had a turf toe. And you can see clearly in some of his routes where he can't quite plant, dig, and come back for balls.
going vertical, he'll be able to sprint a little bit, take off, maybe go up for the ball. But like you said, it's the planning and turning and cutting off, and it's just specific directions.
When you take him out of the game on 3rd and 1, 4 receivers, and number 7 is not one of them. They hand it off inside to Stripling. He's stacked up. Morty Ivy combining with Williams. We'll see the spot. They may have given him enough progress that it's a first down.
Well, and no surprise.
Pretty generous.
Yeah, very generous spot there. Left side of the Louisville offensive line, Bussey, Barlow, Wood. That's the strength. Those are their best players over there. Not surprised they go left, and West Virginia's well aware of that.
Eric Wood, 3-year starter, junior center out of Cincinnati.
Their whole offensive line as a whole do an excellent job, whether it's run blocking, pass blocking. They are sound up front.
They do get the first down. Keep an eye on this. I don't know if Stripling actually got to where they spotted that ball.
He did. There you go.
Right there. Okay, mark it there.
That's it.
Craig, you carry the ball. Can you do that? Can you be laying on the ground for a few seconds and place it out there like that?
You can do anything you want, but they should bring the ball back.
You can do it tonight.
That's the first time they've picked up a first down on the ground tonight. They only have 10 yards rushing. First down throw. Brown had plenty of time, and now he's forced out and ended up picking up 2 yards before Magro makes the tackle. Good coverage.
Excellent coverage downfield. Everything was taken away from him. Good job by Brom, at least making some positive yards.
Can you see the nose there, the bridge of the nose? Magro is, I mean, there you go. You see the blood in there. It's opened up again tonight. Fowler, you jinxed him. You told him he needed cosmetic surgery. His teammate Schmidt, he was not apologetic on the couch, was he?
Not at all. No, it's part of football. he's kind of like he's a fighter. The cut just going to get opened up every game, isn't it? You can't stop the bleeding. Making heavy contact out there. Throw short. Barnage, another catch. And they're not going to give him first down yardage. Aaron?
Chris, I had a chance to speak with Mark Magro's father, Philip, tonight in the stands, and you mentioned how Mark grew up only 5 minutes away from the stadium here, and his father said he would bring him to the games at a very young age and say, hey, let's watch this game together. And Mark would rather go out and play in the mud and then, like you said afterwards, go grab wristbands. His dad says he can't believe it's coming to an end. Mark has played since he was a true freshman. He says it's almost over, and he just doesn't even want to think about it.
They said the career's gone past. The 3rd and 1. Stripling. I'm not going to give him first down yardage on that spot. Great job by the Mountaineer interior lineman Johnny Dingle filling, and then Williams came in, and there's a trash talker. He gets a lecture.
Yeah, you almost don't want to get in that 3rd and short because your running game is struggling so much, and Louisville's tempted to go for it here on 4th.
I don't think you can do it. You got to punt the football way too early. With West Virginia being so efficient on offense right now, and Louisville's defense not doing that bad.
Because West Virginia is so efficient offensively, if you have opportunities to convert 4th and short,
wait a minute.
you changed
stances on me twice right there.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
I might have gone for it there.
Ron Rivers makes the fair catch. They punt West Virginia back to the 11-yard line. Johnny Dingle likes to celebrate. And the official telling him, young man, that's crossing the line. Be careful. I'm going to flag you next time. Mountaineers up by 14. West Virginia certainly the preseason favorite in the Big East. Maybe the slight nod over Louisville, and they still have control of their destiny. But Connecticut sit there at 4-0. What about Connecticut and Cincinnati? That's an important game before Huskies come here to Morgantown. Can they get that done at Cincinnati?
At Cincinnati.
Yeah,
it'll be a tough one. That UConn's playing well. The plus turnover in the turnover department doing extremely well, but so is Cincinnati. This will be a hard game for UConn.
Things change fast in the conference. USF, you saw in a tie for last place after being number 2 in the country 2 weeks ago. White fires on first down over the head of Brandon Hogan. They've scored touchdowns each of their last 3 possessions. Let's check with Reese in the studio.
All right, Chris, Pontiac Performance halftime report. We've got the home away from home theater working since we just have one game to focus on. Lou's going to pep up the Pokes. Mark will tell you who's on and off the mark, and we'll have the latest on O.J. Simpson. But quite frankly, I think Lou looks like he needs a pep talk right now. Men, we're going to knock on their door and tell them that we'll be ready for them at halftime. Let's go.
He's allowed to relax. I know Coach will be ready when the light goes on. Kickback, why not? They have ottoman there. Did you see that?
Mayday's in the ottoman.
I like that. A couch with an ottoman.
Yeah. That's a great studio idea.
We don't even have a stool up here to sit. Well, Devine and the freshman joining Slayton in the lineup on that play.
Talk about explosive. He is so quick. He's as fast as he is quick. He's a little guy that makes you miss.
A big play here for the Louisville defense, guys, on 3rd and 8. If they can get the Mountaineers off the field some time before halftime for Ron to work with. And they sack White. Pat White hammered off the edge. Earl Heyman combining with Maurice Mitchell.
Well, there you go, Craig. I was wrong. You don't go for it because you got to stop finally after 3 straight touchdowns by West Virginia.
Well, hey, Louisville's defense, rushing 4, dropping coverage, right side of your screen. Capers the right tackle, can't quite hold on, and the speed guy, Maurice Mitchell, he is their best guy off the edge.
Guy's playing hurt. Again, Peanut Whitehead, who was the starter tonight, went out injured, and Mitchell trying to tough it out with his shoulder injury. Gets his 2nd sack of the season. So the Mountaineers will have to punt. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Football's rough. Your commute shouldn't be. So get there in Goodyear's silent armor technology.
Think that blimp will take us out of here through the traffic jam after this game?
Well, if they could pick us up, that would be just awesome. Well,
how you gonna get out?
Open for pretty good field position. McAfee is back in his own end zone. Two steps in the rugby punt. Fielded at the 40 by Douglas. Give Harry Douglas a chance at punt returner. That's an unusual duty for the star receiver. 48-yard punt. McAfee's done well tonight. Not much of a return.
Not just that, he pinned him on the sideline with a directional punt within a yard of the sideline. A lot of times when you do that, you wind up kicking it out of bounds and losing an extra 10 yards or losing 10 yards. He pinpointed that. That's an exceptional punt.
They were ready for it. They had a couple of returners on that half of the field, but he placed it right down there on the sideline. So let's see what Brom can do. 2:16. Ball at the 41-yard line.
There's a guy with a tie that showed up. He didn't student. Excellent job. Blue shirt, great tie.
He didn't get the memo.
Nope.
Brom fires, look for Barnage, incomplete. Good coverage over the middle by Morty Ivy.
You know, this crowd, Chris, I was starting to say a while ago, it's not been as loud. This crowd hasn't been crazed yet. I mean, you know, it really hadn't gotten into it here. You got a 2-minute drill going. You'd think that home team crowd would be up a little bit more.
All right.
Think that'll get them going, huh?
He's fired up.
That was your pep talk to the crowd?
Well, you know, you got a guy in a blue tie, and you got, you know. There they go.
I got to check my cell phone.
Text messages.
That's 2 faux pas. The tie and the checking the text messages. Brown over the middle. There's Urrutia, his first catch of the night. Mario Urrutia turns the corner inside the 45. So the 6'6" receiver has had a quiet year. They need him.
West Virginia's playing some soft zone right now, backing up. A lot of these underneath routes, been coming up and striking the receiver for 5- and 6-yard gains. In the last 2 plays, there's been a little more cushion, probably because it's a 2-minute situation.
Urrutia came back against Pittsburgh, made 4 catches, but only for 37 yards, as he's still bothered a bit by that turf toe, still not 100%. 14-yard gain. Stripling is the back on first down. It's a screen. Stripling needs a block on the corner and gets one. George Stripling into the secondary, down the sidelines, into the end zone. No, they'll spot him out. They'll spot him out. A football, a Nerf football came flying out. It's not a flag. It's a yellow football. And Stripling, I thought he was headed for the end zone. They'll spot him just short.
How about Charlie Stubbs, offensive coordinator, with a great call? You know what? I mean, you're coming up and you've been throwing the ball. You've got a defense that's backing up and they're covering. They're being soft. And you have perfect execution by the offensive line up front. Watch your offensive lineman get to the outside. 78, big right guard, Giacomini. Stripling, wow. Great block by the tight end, 81, Scott Kuhn.
Stubbs talked about his running backs by committee, and they do certain things well. Obviously, Stripling is their screen back. That's the second time.
His foot hit the pylon. You saw the foot of Stripling hit the pylon. They're going to review this.
Ruling on the prior play is under review.
Going to see where the football was. His foot definitely hit the pylon before it went out of bounds.
Well, there was another football floating around the 3-yard line at the end of this play.
Inbounds so far. Inbounds. Oh, man, touchdown.
I'm saying it's 6.
Touchdown. That's 6. 6 from here.
I thought so live. They
so
spotted him out inches short, but foot on the pylon, the ball right there on the plane. Another look.
Stays in bounds. That looks like a touchdown. It is a touchdown.
And I tell you what, if the ball does go on the 1-yard line, Louisville's not real happy about trying to get it in from the 1 with their running game and the short yardage situation so far today. It's important that this is called a touchdown to them.
He hits the pylon there with his foot. Ball's inside. Touchdown. It's over.
It's over. It's over.
Come on back, guys.
It's over. Okay, ball game. Let's go home.
Get back out. Let's go, ref.
How about his foot looked like he was going to plant it about 6 to 8 inches out of bounds, and he just pulled it back in at the last second.
I'll use a little technology here to give you a zoomed-in look at the foot and the pylon. Boom. Don't really see it hitting out of bounds until
that's an amazing
after it hits the pylon.
And the ball is in front of him at the time this happens.
Yeah. Okay, he switched it at the last minute, holding the ball out front.
Trying to find out where that ball is.
Yeah. But it looked like he held the ball out in front of him.
Yep.
They may not have enough to overturn this.
But at worst, the ball should be a heck of a lot closer than the 1 yard. That's a touchdown.
I think it broke the plane from that angle.
That one there as well.
Brom, meanwhile, guys, has completed 10 of his last 11 passes. It's been important because they haven't been able to run the football. Brom has gotten sharp in this second quarter.
You know, you see a lot of players that play fast, but they're out of control. How about the control of Stripling there, playing fast?
After review, the play stands is called on the field.
All right.
Wow.
Not indisputable.
Okay, but at worst, he stepped out of bounds there right at the pylon, correct?
I don't know. I had him scoring.
I had him in, too. I mean, that ball's almost all the way out to the 1 yard line right now.
Do you think it makes a difference with the way they run the football?
Absolutely.
I know this. I do something opposite of that left side of the line. I do a counter. I do something that's different. I would decide.
Quarterback sneak it 3 times in a row. Or 1.
That's in.
No signal yet.
He's way in the end zone.
Finally, it's been a hard-earned touchdown for the Cardinals. We thought he had it to play before. Brom plows across the goal line, and that's a very quick answer, an important answer by Louisville to cut into this West Virginia lead before halftime.
And you know what? If you're right now, Steve Crackthorpe, you ought to be over there talking to your defense saying, fellas, get ready because Pat White's got a lot of time on this clock. Let's don't blow the momentum we got.
Right, that was a great job with the Cardinals defense. They didn't go for it near midfield, pinned it back 3 and out, boom. And now there's still a minute 48 before halftime for West Virginia to work with. Carmody automatic. Craigthorpe's unit hanging in there on the road in a tough environment, playing the Royal of Spoiler against an opponent that has a lot more to play for tonight than they do.
That was a great job of just taking it down the field, answering the score. The problem is the clock. Now you're going to see a different type of 2-minute offense by West Virginia.
A different type of way to watch this football game, guys. ESPN Digital Cinema. They're watching this thing in movie theaters. They've sold tickets $9 a piece. A few theaters here in Morgantown, like the Carmike Morgantown 12. Are they cheering that shot of Brom, or just the fact that they're hanging out together watching the game? It's also going on in Louisville. A few theaters, the fans have come together and watching our feed in the theater.
So you don't have to have a sellout to have a movie out then, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, kind of.
No, I don't know what you're saying.
You have to have it. You know, you can open the theaters, even though maybe there's a couple seats left. It's a nice crowd tonight, but you have the option. You can go to the movie house. You can come to the real house.
Yeah, I guess so. If your team's on the road, you can go to the movie theater instead of sitting at home and watching it on TV.
There you go. You're coming around.
I guess that's the idea.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I was still trying to wrap my head around it myself, but I think you got it.
What do you think, EA?
Get there.
You're with me, EA, aren't you?
Flannery, the kickoff. Trying to create some room here as a flag comes down. There's Noel Devine. He's dragged down out of bounds, and now another flag comes in. There's an early flag and a late flag on this return. Okay, to be continued.
During the return, holding number 56 on the return team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
I guess 2 flags for 1 holding penalty against Emory.
Now, if you ever get confused, Chris, and you're in a city and you're looking for something to do in a midweek game somewhere in there, you can always go and you can check right there. Cards versus West Virginia. It's one of the deals.
I saw this one. I saw Dan in real life. That's Steve Carell's movie.
Should you watch this one first?
Game plan. It could be confusing for the football fan. You got a game plan and you got a football game.
What's the game plan?
I hadn't seen that yet.
You have to ask the coaches.
Moving with a rock. Oh.
Minute 43 to work with. Not very good field position, and a conservative call for Rodriguez on first down as White gets about 2 yards.
Now with 2 timeouts, do you use them on defense here?
Well,
I know it's scary.
Hey, wait a minute. You call timeout. That conservative play right there that Pat White ran, how many times have we seen him take off?
Yeah.
You got one of your behind-the-scenes numbers about long runs of over 40 yards.
No, they've got a lot of ugly numbers on defense. You wouldn't think they would gamble and try to get the stop here, but they have been playing pretty good. Good job defending Slayton on the run. Preston Smith on the stop, and the crowd, listen to the boos. I don't care if you're number 7 in the BCS and you're up a touchdown. They want to see a more aggressive approach.
Remember several weeks ago now against Maryland, West Virginia going in, a couple boom, boom, boom plays, and they're in right before half.
Yeah.
And running plays just like we just seen that break, and all of a sudden they're gone.
I know how dangerous they are, but on 3rd and long, I would take a risk of calling a timeout and try to get the ball back into Brom's hand.
Neither team interested in stopping the clock at this point. They'll run the play clock down on 3rd and 8. Snap it with 1 second to go. Give it to Slayton. Now, more booing from the crowd. There's a tough crowd here on their own team. We're used to seeing hostility toward the visitors. Now they're getting after Coach Rod. And Louisville will now take a timeout, stop it with 20 seconds, and force the Mountaineers to punt. Slayton just 17 yards on 9 carries. Folks, so Glum still up a touchdown here. Well, Louisville elected not to use their timeouts. They've still got 1, but not much time to work with after this punt by McAfee. Did have pretty good field position. Douglas and Guy back. Again, it's the rugby punt from McAfee. This one not nearly as long. Will bounce and roll dead, but this will also wind the clock down. That punt took 13 seconds, and that's all Brom will have to work with now. 7 on the clock from the 41-yard line. 44 yards on the punt. If they trusted the defense more, and if West Virginia weren't so dangerous, they could have used some timeouts on defense and had more to work with.
It's a scary proposition. I mean, Slayton or White can hit a crease and be gone 80 yards in a flash. So it's dangerous. But once you got him in a 3rd and long situation, I think I might have taken that chance.
Carmody, very reliable kicker. one timeout. They'd have to make a very quick completion downfield to give him a chance. And they'll flip it short to Stripling, and Stripling will be stopped for a loss, and that'll be the final play of this first half. Louisville actually outgains the Mountaineers 206 to 184, but it's the home team with a 7-point lead as we send it back to Reese, Mark, and Lou for the Pontiac Performance halftime report. Guys.
All right, Chris, entertaining first half, perhaps not as entertaining as the fans in Morgantown had hoped at the end. What did you think about the close to the vest style at the end?
Well, I thought that they were very conservative going into halftime, but for the fans to boo Rich Rodriguez, I couldn't believe that after what he's done. I think he kind of knows what he's doing.
He's won a lot there.
He's up. He's up by 7
Boo.
Boo. Shame on you.
You wouldn't boo Rodriguez.
I don't think you ought to boo the coach ever.
No, of course you don't.
The player.
And on that note, coming up with a Pontiac Performance.
White still has it. Looks to the end zone. Wide open for a touchdown is Darius Raynaud. White still has it. Fires. Complete. Touchdown Raynaud. Number 2 for number 2. Brown steps up. Fires for the end zone. Touchdown. Slayton walks in.
Or one.
No signal yet.
He's way in the end zone.
Finally, it's been a hard-earned touchdown for the Cardinals. Offense has got off to a slow start in this one, but then 35 points. West Virginia 21-14 as we get set to start the third quarter. Welcome back to Morgantown. Chris Fowler, Doug Flutie, Greg James, and Aaron Andrews. Boy, it's been two very talented quarterbacks running different offenses who've been the story in the first half. A very slow start flow for Steve Slayton. Where has he been?
Where's he been? This is an offense that averages 300 yards on the ground. They have just about 108 in the first half, and your Home Depot coaching adjustments are get the guy the football. 9 carries, 17 yards in the first half. That's not enough touches. I mean, Pat White's been efficient with it on the air, but I think really to put the pedal to the metal, you got to give him the ball more, and then Louisville keep it away from Brian Brom.
Brom's just distributed the ball to everybody. I think they got to get Rudy a little more into the game, using the backs well. And again, Harry Douglas is the guy he's going to lean on in the pass game.
It was Douglas early, but then Stripling, and we thought scored there in that play. It was Brom on the quarterback sneak, eventually scoring the touchdown. Barnage and Stripling, the tight end and the backs, have been active receivers. Douglas had a fumble, gave West Virginia the short field. One of those touchdown drives was pretty easy, 25 yards. Mountaineers will get the ball to begin the second half after Todd Flannery kicks it off. You hold West Virginia to a $184 in the first half, and you're Louisville with that beleaguered defense. You did a pretty good job.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty short kickoff taken by Noel Devine at the 15. Devine breaks out. Their freshman has room across midfield. Yeah, White and Slayton are fast, but so is this guy, the back of the future in Morgantown. 41 yards in a hurry.
You know what? When you talk about angles and trying to catch somebody who's fast, watch the speed. There's no way.
They still didn't get a clean lick on him at the end of the play. They pulled him down. He almost split the two defenders.
Here are your angles. This is where you see white jerseys having no shot.
Bit of a wrinkle. They haven't used Devine much on kickoff returns this year. He's only had 38 carries. We saw him flash his speed at Maryland earlier this season. Thought he was going to become a bigger part of the offense. He's been a little bit nicked up. Had a concussion and that cost him a game. They fake the reverse. White still has it. Turns the corner, picks up about 6 as we check in with Aaron Andrews.
Chris had a chance to speak with Louisville head coach Steve Cragthorpe coming out of the locker room. He told me defensively what his team needs to do, tackle better. He doesn't feel like West Virginia has been able to move the ball consistently in the first half. He said we've got to take advantage of that. And also, guys, defensive end Peanut Whitehead is out for the game with a concussion. And as you mentioned, they only travel 25 guys on defense, so that is a blow.
It is a blow. The starting defensive end out of there. Slayton on the reception. First down yardage to the 32. If they don't give him the ball as a runner, they can throw it to him. He had 17 catches on the year coming into the night. 7 yards on that one.
You saw Steve Cragthorpe on the sidelines telling his defense, pass. Here comes the pass. There's a tendency. There's a trend there. Gives his defense the heads up for the pass, but they're not over there.
He's been more involved in the defense lately, hasn't he? Mike Cassidy's the coordinator, but With that defense struggling, Cragthorpe calling things out. Yeah. It's not a run. It's a throw, and trying to break free. Reynaud, who's thankfully okay after walking off the field to be treated in the first half. Buchanan on the stop.
Treated in the first half. Perfect segue to Owen Schmidt. He treats you to a ball game, leading Pat White up inside, finds his safety here, leading right up inside again. Owen Schmidt continues to do the little things to make the offense look big.
On 2nd and 3, Slayton is the tailback, and he gets it. Slayton knifing ahead to the 11. That's his longest run of the night.
Well, we can add to Owen Schmidt's resume reel. What a block. Coming around, hitting Malik Jackson. You see from the right side. Here he is, going to come out, kick out on Malik Jackson.
By getting the fullback involved in the offense now, you can just go ahead and hand it off, though, to Slayton and not deal with all the reads that take the ball out of his hands.
And first down, White firing short. Now Schmidt as a receiver makes a catch and picks up just one.
Good observation there, Chris. You said as a receiver. 3 times now we've seen Pat White to the left side rolling. He's thrown to a slot. He's thrown to a receiver coming from the backside. Now he dumps it off to the fullback.
Well, they showed the same exact action that they just handed the ball off to Slayton with. The fullback coming across Schmidt. This time bluffs the block, releases into the flat.
And 2nd and 9. They give a clinic here on this offense every summer. 1,000 high school coaches. It's grown from about 20 to 1,000 in 5 years. Came here to learn this offense. It's Slayton, and he's stacked up in the middle. A lot of high schools around the country are putting their best athlete at quarterback and running some variation of this offense.
Well, it's like Florida. When you look down at Florida, their option offense, their zone read, you see them at times, they'll go with a fullback leading. Here, they empty it out a lot.
You got to find a guy like Pat White, a quarterback, though. I mean, that's the key is that quarterback position. A guy that can read it all. They've even added the bubble screen into the read sometimes now. And
well, there may not be a Pat White, but if you got your fastest guy, your best athlete in high school, you can still make guys miss at that level. On 3rd and 9, pump fake, fire for the end zone, leaping catch, out of bounds. The late signal, Jock Sanders, the freshman, went up, didn't get a foot down.
Throw to the back of the end zone. Sanders goes up, but a really good job. Chris Vaughn, well, actually, that's Woodney Turin that goes back and pushes him just out of bounds.
A great shot there, toe.
Great shot.
On the White part, and leaves a mark like a clay court in tennis. You can see he's out of bounds. 28-yard field goal attempt from McAfee. And he's now hit 10 straight. So West Virginia marches the first possession of the second half. It comes away with 3. The lead is 10. Once again, the wrinkle, a new way to watch this game. The movie theaters here in Morgantown and also in Louisville. Pay you $9. You don't have to worry about the weather. You can dress differently. Although it hadn't been that bad.
That's a new concept, and apparently 3/4 of that room is full. Of 1,000 seats, 750 folks.
They dressed in gold. You see that in the theater. They got in the theater.
They got the memo. The guy with the blue shirt and a tie, no memo.
Yeah, the ties at a football game just always confuse me. You're used to seeing that various spots in the SEC.
And a white hat to boot.
It's a different look. The gloves.
No email, no text message from the friends. Give it the program.
We're making him famous tonight. Trent Guy at the goal line.
That's why he wore the tie.
3 flags fly. This guy is dropped to the 35. Something serious happened there.
Wow.
There's a yellow laundry.
Got a flag in your pocket there you want to throw?
That's a rotator cuff problem there.
Have a flag. You know, what accuracy. All 3 within a yard of each other.
Good bunching. It's an illegal block here. Had a nice fireworks show at halftime.
During the return, illegal block in the back. number 2 on the return team. Penalty is half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. First down.
Yeah, the coordinated fireworks, and now look at this. Flags in the air, all 3 of them.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3. And they land close.
Oh, you want to grab one.
And also, we'll hit on Rick.
This is the halftime show. Big occasion.
The little yellow bean bags with the tail there, they throw them.
Well, back to the game here. Special teams hurting Louisville here in the start of the second half. The kick returned by West Virginia, and then the penalty on theirs.
Tough field position. Short gain by Stripling. We said there's almost a victory for the Louisville defense after the kickoff return by Devine of 41 yards to hold the Mountaineers to a field goal. The deficit only 10 for the first possession of the second half, but not good field position.
That is a positive thing. If you can answer that with a touchdown drive and cut into the lead, no doubt. But as a passing quarterback, a guy that likes to throw the ball, you hate calling a run play on first down and getting stuffed and getting second and long.
And Brian was telling us more variety. They're looking different levels on first down throws, making the defense defend a lot of the field. But now on second and long, he's pressured and set near the 1-yard line. Keelan Dykes up the middle, got Brom.
We've talked about it tonight, how this defense has been able to stop Louisville on first down. Third down has been terrible. You're going to see 3 rushing, and look at the 5 across the board here. Nowhere for Brom to see the field down there and to throw to a receiver.
You have a double team on Dykes. He gets rid of the center and throws him off and just heads to the quarterback. 3-man rush. As a quarterback, you know receivers are going to be covered. I might have to move with the ball, and I should have a little extra time.
Brom sacked for a 3rd time. 3rd and 17 from the 1. He'll fire over the middle. It's Barnage in traffic, short of the first down. How many times tonight did the Cardinals come up just short of that first down marker?
Well, and hats off to West Virginia's defense. Yep. You know what? This is a defense that's playing like a top 10 team. They're coming out answering the call against an offense that can throw the ball and move it and score points.
Hey, what, the 3rd and 18 coming off your own goal line. That's a big play, field position-wise, not having to be backed up in the end zone punting. Sure, it would have been nice to pick up the first down and they were close to it, but at least you get a little bit of field position out of the end zone.
That's a shame. A terrible kick off the side of the foot. Rivers comes up and fields it on the hop at the 43. A flag on the play.
But did you see that? He threw the flag for 10 yards, wasn't far enough, picked it up and threw it another 10.
He doesn't have the arm anymore.
No, it's a rotator cuff issue.
Yet another special teams penalty.
You know what I'm talking about?
I hear you.
Huh?
Absolutely.
You throw something that's like, you know, half a pound.
Holding against the Mountaineers.
All right. Oh, there's the penalty down there.
But he has the slot release, so was to the side. He's babying it.
I didn't get enough on that. I didn't get enough. Wait a minute. It's up there.
And he's going to sneak it in so that nobody sees that he's done it again.
That flag got really near Rivers, who was trying to field that punt on the bounce.
Phil Judge Ben Vesconcelos.
Could have been a little distraction.
Well, back up West Virginia. Would have been the ball at the 45-yard line. Mangino and the Jayhawks, one of 3 unbeatens, and they survive Stillwater. BC visiting Maryland, trying to bounce back, and USC California. Primetime football on ABC, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 on the West Coast, presented by Southwest Airlines.
We have USC at Arizona State on Thanksgiving night.
Yeah. A lot of fun. Pac-10 for the first time on Thursday night. We've got Oregon, Arizona a week from tonight. To see Dennis Dixon and the Ducks. On first down. Handoff straight ahead to Slayton. Loses the football. A fumble forced by Bobby Buchanan. And that's what Louisville needs. Louisville football. They've signaled that direction. And they're still battling for it in the scrum. So Steve Slayton, who had those costly fumbles against Louisville last year, brought on by the wrist injury, the elbow problem that he had in the ball game. He came into this game bent on redemption. He's saying
it looked like this bounced out late, so Slayton really felt that his elbow hit the ground, and that's when the ball pops out.
Yeah, that's why. But you saw Crackthorpe telling him to get over and let's get on the ball and let's snap this thing. And Rodriguez doing a nice job of keeping his defense over there, saying, hold on, let's let this thing breathe a little bit.
Now they'll review this.
You keep that defense over there too long, the offense will snap the ball and take off on you.
They're not getting away with that anymore, though.
That's that old Aggie joke.
Remember a play that was ruled a turnover, an interception by White early in the game, overturned by replay. If the elbow hits the ground and that causes the fumble, that's not a fumble.
But carry on with my Aggie joke. When we were kids growing up, they say how many plays did it take for the Longhorns to score, or for the Aggies to score after the Longhorns left the field?
Okay.
11.
Here's another look. Elbow.
Down.
Boom.
That's what causes the ball to come out. He's down. We were talking, though, at halftime, Craig, about the atmosphere here tonight. I mean, it's very subdued. There's been some moments where the crowd's up on their feet. They're cheering right now.
Subdued by Morgantown standards for you? What this subdued when you came in here in '84?
Not the Morgantown I remember right now, especially booing just before half.
I got some great information for you guys. Our champion on the sidelines, EA, Erin Andrews, signed an autograph at our hotel before the game to some folks and fans, and she signs Mountaineers.
After review, the ruling on the field is reversed. The runner was down before the ball came loose. The ball placed at the 46-yard line. It will be second down. Please reset the game clock to 10 minutes.
So for the second time, turnover on the field overruled by replay. It'll be West Virginia football at the 46-yard line of the Cardinals, and they're up and ready to play.
Let me finish that thought. So she misspells Mountaineers. Our EA,
misspelled it, huh?
Mountaineers, yeah, she forgot the I in the mountain.
She was trying to sign it quickly, right?
No, I don't know.
I would just like to say I'm very nervous about this trip to Pittsburgh tonight. I had a lot on my mind, like trying to hit deer, not hit deer tonight. That's what I'm concerned about, not spelling Mountaineers.
On 2nd and 4, a first down completion to the 35-yard line as Tito Gonzalez makes his second catch of the night. It's no reflection on the University of Florida education. You know how to spell Mountaineers, I know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have attempted it. So
now that crowd's starting to come in. Get a little life to them.
Let's keep it going, Mounties. Let's keep it going, guys. We got this game. We got this game. All right, Mounties. Undefeated.
They haven't got it yet. If they get a touchdown here, it's going to look pretty good for them. You got Brom on the other side. You got a chance. Slayton. Once again, not a lot of running room for the speedy Steve Slayton. Buchanan on the tackle.
Does appear to be getting closer, though. There's some creases, some positive gains, a half step from stepping out of an arm tackle.
You predicting he's going to bust one here before this night is over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can see only 40 yards rushing. That 103 per game is down about 30 yards from a year ago. A few less touches. Noel Devine now spells Slayton in the game. Whistle before the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 79 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
They got Isdener, the sophomore guard.
That appears to be the only way they'll get stopped. West Virginia makes some mistakes, whether it's penalties or a turnover, mishandled snap, or the ball that happened to slip out of Pat White's hands he had to fall on. Boy, they're polished within the offense, though, when they're moving the ball.
Schmidt and Devine in the backfield. 2nd and 11 now. And it's White. Ooh, he is popped. Ball comes loose. Pat White gets drilled after a short gain. And it is Louisville football. Devine trying to help up White. The quarterback still laying on his back. You could hear that hit. And this press box a long way from the field. Earl Heyman on the fumble recovery. It was Buchanan combining with the linebacker Lamar Miles on the hit.
Well, Pat White's had to deal with a couple of issues this year health-wise. He had a thigh bruise. He's had a little shoulder that was banged up a few weeks ago. He was totally healthy coming into this game.
Yeah, the thigh bruise that knocked him out of the USF game, and then he had a chest injury as well.
Yeah. You have to remember, he's only 185 pounds. He's not a tailback type body, but he runs like a tailback and is explosive, and he takes too many hits.
He's run the ball 15 times tonight. Here's a real speed replay. You can hear the hit. White appears to be okay. Pad on pad, and this fumble will not be overturned. So Louisville's defense comes up with the takeaway. That's been the thing that's kept them in some games. That's their 15th fumble recovery on the season. That's very good. Not many interceptions from this defense, only 6. Now they're going to review this one.
Well, while they review that, Rich Rodriguez has to go find out what type of condition Pat White's in, because he's such a tough guy. Coach Rod can't ever figure out whether or not he's really hurt or not, and he doesn't speak up. He's a competitor.
It's Jared Brown, the backup, who's had to be clutch in some big games in his career. Let's see what they might be looking at on replay here.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
Can't imagine what they'd be looking at. The ball came out
Nice
way
job. Still
before.
vertical. He was still standing up.
Great job by the officials, though.
Pat may not remember what happened, but it's pretty clear.
It looks like a concussion type of situation where he got his bell rung a little bit there. I don't know if they're working on an arm or a hand or something, but the way he shakes his head every now and then.
Meanwhile, Braun gets the football back. 8:12 to play in the third quarter. Down 10. Ryan takes off, picks up about 6 before being knocked out by Ivy.
Now there's a 3-man rush where he got out and made some plays. Now this guy get knocked out of bounds, you said?
Have you ever felt that, Doug? Have you ever been hit?
You think?
How many concussions in your career?
I had what I would consider 3 real concussions and a bunch where I was dazed, but all right after about 10 seconds.
Doug, we played in
look
that
at the movement around White. There's some concern there.
There is. We played back when they never even really tried to diagnose it.
As long as you could stand up and get out on the field, go.
Completion and a first down into West Virginia territory. Douglas, 14 yards. White seems to be trying to convince the staff that he's good, he's fine. They'll do those tests on him to make sure he's telling the truth.
Yeah, exactly. He just doesn't want to come out. I mean, this is a tough competitor, but he has to be smart, and he has to let his coach know where he stands.
Well, they'll give him like 3 words to memorize and come back to him in a few minutes and see if he still knows them.
2 tight ends for the Cardinals on first down. And handed to Brock Bolin. Bowles ahead for about 3.
Well, Coach Rod, you'll see him walk over and try to visit to get some type of read on his quarterback. But I tell you what, Coach Rod better jump back over there also and be worried about his defense, because Brian Brown's got the ball in his hands. You don't want to let that momentum run the other side.
See all that rubber from the field? That's on his left shoulder now.
Absolutely.
Rubber pellets.
Yep.
Louisville, a real chance to cut into this 10-point lead now. Ball at the Mountaineer 45 on second down. Brown, quick drop. Batted down. Batted down on the edge by Scooter Berry.
D linemen are taught, if you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, eye him and get your hands up when he lifts that ball up to release it.
Chance for the Mountaineer defense to step up with a big stop after the turnover. The 3rd and 8. The training staff out there. There's a West Virginia player on one knee. Is that Johnny Dingle? Number 92, the end opposite side of Berry. He's the senior.
He's an excellent pass rusher. Great feet, great quickness.
You've already seen he's a world-class trash talker as well. He'll sit this play out on 3rd and 8.
This is that area, too, though, of the field. You get close, a 4th and 1, maybe just, 2-play territory.
Brown pressured and hit. Ball loose. Picked up. Eric Wicks on a touchdown. enormous game-changing defensive touchdown by the Mountaineers. Johnny Holmes made the hit. Eric Wicks scoops and scores. Here comes another review. Okay.
Again, it was a 3rd and long situation. Allows West Virginia to come with the pressure.
Watch the arm here, guys. Was it going forward?
No, not at all. Wicks is always around the ball. The ball just finds him.
He gets a lucky hop here, too, huh?
Gets a nice hop, scoop and score.
Jeff Castile dials up the right number at a critical time in this football game and bringing. Remember, we've seen earlier where he had 3 rushing.
Rolling out the field is confirmed.
Where you had 3 rush, 5 in the middle. This time he came and he brought a lot of players and got to Brian Brom.
Again, you can do that in 3rd and long and make the quarterback get rid of the ball quickly. Brom's trying to hang on to it so he can throw the ball past the sticks and get the first down. He gets hit throwing the football.
1 second, Louisville's got the ball. Trying to cut into a 10-point lead. Now when Brom goes back on the field, he's suddenly down 17. 44 yards as the Mountaineer defense steps up and makes its biggest play of the night. Mountaineers up by 17 in Morgantown as we go to Aaron Andrews.
Chris, if you want an update on how Pat White is doing, after Eric Wicks recovered the fumble and ran it in for a touchdown, White got so excited he ran away from the training staff, grabbed his helmet, tried to run on the field. They said, no. Louisville's offense now goes on the field. He said, oh, okay, and sat back down. So then they checked him out again. Steve Slayton looked over at me and said, our guy's fine. All right.
Are you sure if he thought he had to go in the field? See how it works is when you score a touchdown, you kick off, the other team offense goes on the field.
I got a way to figure out where he is. Take in the newspaper, have him do a little Sudoku.
That's his hobby, a little numbers game.
Yeah. Figure out if he's got it.
So John Holmes,
sit him down,
the enormous hit. Folks in the theaters in here, Morgantown love that. Wicks on the return, and now Brom will go back to work after the big sack. Trent Guy trying to create field position, and Trent Guy, he's hammered as he hesitated just across the 30. Charles Pugh, he had run by him, came back and made the hit. 30-yard return.
The goal line's that way. He had so much open space, he didn't know which way to cut off a defender.
He's trying for the really big return.
You got the really big hit. Oh, these officials are doing a nice job of trying to keep this game under control, these two teams.
So that chess match move, Jeff Castile gets the edge. And Charlie Stubbs and the offensive brain trust for Louisville. They bring the blitz. They couldn't block it. And now a little more desperation, a little more urgency for Brom and company. Again, pressure. Brom fires. Incomplete. Douglas was Barnage, was well covered, the tight end. Flag down.
Like Dykes splitting a double team again up front to get pressure on Brom.
Pass interference, number 24 on the defense. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Ellis Lankster, the backup corner, flag. They move the ball to the 38. Mountaineers tough enough to beat without a couple of turnovers that produced 14 West Virginia points, including the defensive touchdown.
If you want to beat these guys, you better hope West Virginia's turning the ball over. You better play flawlessly.
Doug Beaumont, the freshman, into the game and in motion in the slot. Brom flips it off and dropped by Anthony Allen. Tried to set up the screen. There was traffic and he couldn't hold on to the ball.
Well, that's why they've had Stripling on the screens. What is he doing?
He's trying to prove that he's ready to go.
And that's going to do it, the old somersault test?
The somersault, he was just jogging back and forth.
That's the sideline test, you know?
If the hit knocks something loose in the head, you just do a somersault, and it'll get it back in place, right? Is that if you started doing that, and I'm a trainer, I'm thinking that you just proved that you need to sit down.
And he did.
What is this, like tumbling class? You might not be ready. 2nd and 10. Deep drop, and now a whistle. Timeout before the play.
To the snap. Timeout. Louisville. Then it's their first timeout of the half.
This is another look at White after the hit. And he wanted to run out there. Said, no, wait, I'm all right. No, we just scored, Pat. We scored. We got to kick off. They get the ball back.
They're cracking up. They are cracking up.
all his work to tell those guys he was okay, it was just undone right there.
If he does have a concussion, and this is a heck of a hit, when you have a concussion, you live in the moment. You feel all right for that second, but 2 seconds later, you forget what happened 5 seconds ago.
The one that I had.
So you're living in the moment every 2-3 seconds.
To support what you're saying, the one that I did have that I know about, hours after the game, I became violently ill. You know, but I kept playing. You think you're okay.
Yeah.
You're going with it, and all of a sudden get home and get in bed, and it's over.
More concussion memories from my two partners here.
I got hit. Remember Mike Singletary?
Snap, false start, 72 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
That's a backup guard, Brian Rhodes. So after the timeout, they misfire, and that'll back up Rom and come to more the study in confessions here. I
got hit by Singletary. Mike Singletary was a great linebacker, Hall of Fame, right? Chicago Bears.
Yeah, of course.
Baylor Bears at the time. He hit me so hard it spun me around into the fullback, whose knee hit me in the head.
On 2nd and 15, Stripling trying to break out, get some of the yardage back.
The old knee to the head.
Knee to you know,
I got one of those against Rutgers once and got a nice concussion out.
Against Rutgers?
Yes. We were at Rutgers. I was diving at the end of a run, and a guy running by caught me with a knee in the temple. And this looks like I have a concussion. Play at West Virginia. That was a common look there.
That's what they called the sack. They go back to 84. That was a big play.
Was it Rich's sack?
No, Rodriguez was not involved in that sack. He was on that team, though, that year.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of success moving the ball against West Virginia. We had them beat my senior year and blew it at the end.
And Matt Smith came up with that famous play in West Virginia history against Flutie. It's a short catch by Patrick Carter, the senior, his first of the night. Lewis on the stop.
And again, this West Virginia defense just keeps making plays. You know, this is an offense that has come in here, and if their defense was weak, we expected to see some production out of the offense.
Louisville forced to punt. Cardinals have just 232 total offense mid-third quarter. Boy, Rivers living dangerously, makes the catch, takes a hit, and gets slung down at the 35. Nice return. Risky, but nice. Mountaineers up by 17, back on offense, 5:11 to play in the third quarter. We'll see if White comes back in, or if we'll see the backup Jared Brown. This game being broadcast on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro. Pat White seems to have convinced the training staff that he doesn't have a concussion, is okay. He's back in the football game as the Mountaineers take over, up 17, midway third quarter. This is Slayton. Fumbles again. Ball picked up in midair. Now there's a scrum. All of a sudden, fumbleitis for West Virginia. This would be first fumble to Slayton that counts. There's no way a replay is going to reverse this one, and it is Louisville football. Deion Palmer on the recovery. LT Walker.
Another great opportunity for Louisville to get back in this ball game, down 17. Again, they're in an I formation now. They're getting the ball in Slayton's hands more out of the eye, but the hit comes, the ball pops right up.
You know what? This is where you have to really be smart as a ball carrier and know that you've got to protect the football with your shoulder pads, get them down to the palmer coming in to hit him. Don't look for the home run every time. Sometimes you got to run through it, get the pads down lower.
Might he be thinking about last year and not doing something
not
differently?
on his mind. That guy's just boom. Got to get his pads down. Quit looking for the big play.
This is Stripling. Cardinals offense needs a big play here. That's a nice king on first down on the ground for a change. 6 yards. Stopped by number 6, Antonio Lewis. Clock at all a factor. I know down 17 third quarter, but keep in mind it's tough to stop West Virginia. I think a little urgency would be a little up-tempo, maybe.
Little up-tempo, but they still have plenty of time. West Virginia's not a team that usually eats up the clock. They have the big 40-yard runs, 30-yard runs, when they do move the football. So you will get the ball back if you can stop it.
There's that tight end. That's a favorite target right there.
Brom looks left side. Incomplete. He was trying to get it to Scott Kuhn, the other tight end.
West Virginia just dropping off in coverage. 2, 3-man rush at the most a lot of times. And Brom has nowhere to go with the football.
Well, this offense, a little bit of a change from what they ran with Petrino. They use the backs and the tight ends a lot more. There's a lot of underneath stuff, a lot of crossing stuff, and West Virginia's been pretty good on that stuff.
Well, they've tried to stay in the zone as much as they can because Louisville's receivers are excellent at scraping and rubbing by each other.
Also known as a pick.
Well, freeing up their partner.
Crucial play on 3rd and 6. Brom pressure, gets it away, complete. Down near the 21-yard line is Harry Douglas. Just before pressure, he got rid of that football. Magro was there, but Douglas, a big catch.
We talked about Harry Douglas, and now that he's healthy, how much he means to this offense, and being able to stretch and get the ball down the field. Brian Brom moving his feet just enough to buy that extra half second to get the ball down the field.
And Magro coming around the edge again on just the 3-man rush, getting a hit on the quarterback.
Now, Harry Douglas closing in on a 1,000-yard receiving year despite missing a couple of ball games with injury. Brom on the screen. It's Stripling. Has some blocks and picks up about 9 as we check in with Reese Davis for a 30 at 30 update.
All right, Chris, O.J. Simpson at a hearing to see whether he and 2 co-defendants charged with robbery, kidnapping, and other offenses will have to stand trial during that hearing. One of the memorabilia dealers who allegedly was robbed by Simpson testified that O.J. Simpson and some other men burst into a hotel room wielding a gun and demanded property. More details coming on SportsCenter after the game. Stay current with ESPN News.
Reese, thank you. 2nd and 1 now at the 13. It's Stripling. Straight ahead. Hammers inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal. First kneeled on the stop.
Very smart. You've had some plays where you've tried to run on the left side and no success. So that time the ball carrier played a little bit more up the middle. He got in there in that 0 hole right behind the center. Didn't hurt 0 hole in a while, have you?
0. I love it when you guys talk technical. 0 hole right behind the center.
Get 0 is right up the middle. 2, 4, 6, 8 out to the right, starting inside out. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 out to the left.
You know what? Football guys just kind of need that consistency, don't we? Regardless of the team.
Until I went to Chicago and evens were left and odds were right. Figure that out. I don't know.
Shotgun on 1st and goal. Now a little zone read look there. Now Stripling has become the featured back. A little page from West Virginia's playbook, huh?
A little chop.
I don't know how much reading he was doing. I don't think Brom was going to keep it. That was pretty much a straight hand.
Looked like a zone.
Read. Well, if you're going to throw the screen passes to him, you got to have him in there when you're running the ball, too. He's becoming the every down back.
Not much of a productive play on 1st down. 2nd and goal from the 7. Very good red zone team because Brom is so sharp down here, putting the ball in tight spaces. In motion, Douglas to the right, whistle before the play. Going to be an illegal procedure to move it back 5.
Prior to the snap, false start, 81 on the offense, 5-yard penalty.
Now the face says it all. It's a grimace from Bragthorpe. Scott Kuhn, the tight end, guilty of the penalty.
Charlie Stubbs, very aggressive in the red zone on first downs, throwing the ball. And with Brom as accurate as he is, the play action.
Especially down here, play action can freeze linebackers in the zone. You get the tight end down through the middle.
Oh, jumped again.
Wow.
Which they've already done today, getting the tight end down the middle.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 81 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
You think 2nd and 17 is a little different from 2nd and 7?
That's a senior. That'll get you a personnel group change, won't it?
Okay.
Yeah, send him out there, Coach. You can regroup mentally, Scott, while we try to somehow punch this in the end zone.
They just wanted more space to work with.
Yeah. Okay. They're really in the ball game now. Still second and goal. Braun flips it, incomplete. He was trying to find Stripling across the middle, threw it behind him. Because of this guy, they had been a really efficient red zone team. They scored touchdowns 73% of the time in the red zone. That's a top 10 in the country stat. Not quite as good as West Virginia, which is number 1 in the conference, but pretty good.
Well, now you just don't want to make that mistake and try to force it into the end zone and get the ball picked off. You need to come out with at least 3 here.
There's Harry Douglas right there. He's got to shake, bake, and get to the middle.
Braun, well protected, fires into the air, intercepted. A flag is down. Antonio Lewis knocked it free. And Langster weaving his way into the secondary. Ellis Langster.
Great effort.
Finally going to be tackled at the 15-yard line. Again, a flag, 2 of them, way back in the end zone. Brom hustling down to make the tackle.
Great effort by Brom to make the tackle, but it's almost like just a fun thing. Let's watch him finish this out because we know it's coming back.
Well, that was Harry Douglas to the middle. You know what? Try to find a way to get him to shake and get open. He's the big play guy.
It's going to come back.
In that situation, you can't force the ball or force the issue. Take what they give you. If you have to kick the 3, you're going to need 3 scores anyway.
Pass interference, number 21 on the defense. Ball be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
It's a huge turnaround. Nullifies the pick in the long run back by Langster.
Well, watch Brom at the very end. This is a great effort, individual effort to come in and make the tackle, and then his teammates, they come over and they...
little stiff arm in the face.
But the sideline's cracking up.
Yeah, I think they can smile if they know it's coming back. That would have been a disastrous play. Would have ended the hopes for the Cardinals.
What a turn of events, though, to get the pass interference in the first down after having a couple of procedure penalties.
Mountaineers will spend a timeout on defense. Their first of the half. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. Once again, our aerial coverage provided to you by Goodyear. Football's rough. Your commute shouldn't be. So get there on Goodyear Silent Armor technology. That was a long commute for Brom. They take a timeout on defense. Maybe it helps the quarterback catch his wind.
Bring the oxygen bottle to the huddle over there on the sideline. Everybody's got a head on a swivel. That used to be the craziest play in the game.
That's the farthest Brom's run in his life.
Seriously, man, interception and you're on offense. You want to make the tackle, but you better have your head on a swivel. Absolutely. I was always the angle guy.
That was me. Last line of defense, taking the angle. How about the offensive linemen? They got to turn around and run 60 yards. They stopped chasing. Now, a lot of them saw the flag and stopped chasing.
Brown, though, has to do his duty, even though I think he thinks that the pick is going to come back, gets a stiff arm, and then gets hit by a Mountaineer while he's making a tackle. That was a pass interference on 3rd and 17. Sets it up on 1st and goal. And Bolin hammering into the end zone. Touchdown, Louisville. You've had all kinds of turnovers, would-be turnovers, wiped out by reviews, by penalties. Steele's defense gives up the touchdown. Fumble recovery there by the Cardinals. Deion Palmer setting it up. And Slayton, who had a fumble earlier in the evening, reversed by replay, does make that costly turnover. All of a sudden, Miss Carmody was automatic. It's a 10-point game. Still a ball game, final minute of the quarter. Our ESPNU All-State standings. BCS, I presume.
Well, or Cardinal. You know, Cardinal's got a little.
Now we're going to see the BCS.
There we go.
West Virginia been number 7 for a while. Since October 21st, teams have kind of jumped around, gone behind them, come ahead of them. What do you think, guys? If West Virginia can get out of here with a win, they're a big favorite coming in. Louisville's lost some respect. Is this going to be enough to create the style points that voters look for when you compare all these one-loss teams?
Well, you got Kansas and Missouri are going to have to play each other. LSU's got to go all the way through an SEC championship game. There's some other losses that can happen.
Sure.
That help West Virginia.
They've got a lot of stuff that needs to happen for them to jump up there that far, because the Kansas and Missouri, then they get, you know, to play Oklahoma, and so there are a lot of teams.
2 out of 3 there, though.
Well, I don't know. Not that much. I mean, the Big 12 teams could cancel each other out.
Absolutely.
Don't you think one of the Big 12 teams, though, is going to come out standing strong?
But why would West Virginia not be able to make a strong case against the other teams that have one loss? We'll talk more about that as the fourth quarter unfolds. In the meantime, Mountaineers will go back on offense, up 10. Good coverage by the Cardinals. Divine a short return. If you check back with Aaron Andrews and more on Steve Slayton, who just fumbled a little while ago.
Well, Chris, Doug was saying, you know, he wondered if last year's fumbles against Louisville was on his mind. I can tell you I was watching him for a while on the sidelines. Not only did he change his gloves, but his older brother Charles came all the way down from his seat up to the wall, called for Steve Slayton. One of his teammates pulled him over to the wall, and his brother screamed at him, "Get your head in the game. Stay focused." Slayton gave him the thumbs up. He's back out there on the field, Chris.
Brother giving advice coming down there. I mean, did he need a brother to say that?
He should know himself, but sometimes you got to hear it from somebody else.
Pass over the head of Jock Sanders on first down.
I think, as much as anything, that Slayton's head's not in it because he didn't have a lot of carries in the first half. He's just not going.
Exactly. He hasn't broken that run yet to get himself going. He had one called back that he looked pretty good on, but hasn't had a chance to get the ball in the open field. And it gets frustrating as a running back.
Plus, he got hit pretty good on the play that he fumbled. It wasn't a careless fumble. He got hammered. Well, Divine is the back, and he's got the ball. Set up a third medium yardage.
One thing that you can say about Louisville, Steve Cragthorpe came in here. He had to take over for a coach. Brought in some new coaches, had 4 that were holdovers, and he had to really work to find the players that would play for him, you know, that would come out and
he's
get
still trying to do that, isn't he?
He's still working. It's you know, a lot of work that he's had to do. More work than people would have thought. The casual fan assumed Louisville was just a layup job.
Pump fake from White. Now he fires back on the far side. Catch made. Speeding away is Jock Sanders. Now he drops the football. Comes back and gets it. 23 yards. And Sanders, another true freshman, another Floridian that Rodriguez and staff have recruited up to Morgantown. And what's going to be the final play of the third quarter. He's got speed too, number 9.
Oh. Smaller the number, the faster you are.
White wants to go to the left. He confuses himself, comes late. I don't know if this was designed to be a choice or a double screen where he just set up with the pump fake.
Covered on the left side, went back right.
See, that was no fumble. The ground caused it. So 15 minutes to play. West Virginia sitting on a 10-point lead. Will have the ball in Louisville territory when the fourth quarter begins. Start of the fourth quarter. Mountaineers in the unfamiliar all bright gold uniforms for the first time ever here at home. Ball at the 49. First down as we begin the final 15 minutes. Reverse, fumbled. Reynaud goes back and picks it up. Stays alive, and Darius Reynaud, well, a flag is down, by the way. He erased some of the damage done as they start the fourth quarter with a trick play and just dropped the football. And Rodriguez confused all of a sudden. These guys can't hold on to it.
If that was a clean exchange, he was around the corner and gone. They still would have been called back for a penalty, though.
Handing the ball off to the stomach.
Holding number 73 on the offense.
Tough.
Penalty is declined. It will be second down.
You always say, you tell me that reverse should be run differently. Pitch the ball to him, right?
Well, he does. It's a dead air, and that's what I was going to say. Either way you go with it, it's not easy. And you try to practice at full speed, but it's never full speed. I mean, it's hard.
I agree with you that pitching the ball is a lot easier than a full speed handoff.
Oh, yeah.
You lose 7 yards. White on the run, fires incomplete. Reynaud was in traffic and had no chance to make that play. L.D. Scott was chasing White. That's a smile on his face.
Well, Slayton was trying to run a wheel route up the sideline, and John Russell just had him covered like a blanket and made Pat White pull it down and look elsewhere.
You can see, guys, that they've had to throw so rarely in the fourth quarter of games with the lead. White just 1 of 3 for 16 yards passing. Of course, he was knocked out of that one loss this year at USF. Didn't play the fourth quarter of that game. Well, Devine comes into the ball game and goes in the slot. 5 receivers in the pattern as White looks downfield. Caught at the 15. Now they say incomplete. Incomplete. Tito Gonzalez thought he caught it. Johnny Patrick defending him.
You know, and look, receivers all year, we've seen them pushing off. Lays out. Oh, no. Ground. Never had possession. Never. Do you agree? Never had total control.
Well, he had his hands on the ball, and the ball touched the ground as he was trying to pull it in. So from the get-go, even if he hangs on to it at the end, it's going to be an incomplete pass because the ball touches the ground right there.
Right there.
Not quite controlled with the hands before the ball hits the ground.
Right.
McAfee averaging 46 yards punting tonight. He's been taking 2 steps to the right, booting it rugby style, does it again. You only have to cover basically half the field, but you can do that.
Oh, not even. You put him into a corner of the field.
Louisville will take over inside their 20-yard line as we check back with Reese Davis in the studio.
Chris, I got to tell you, I think it's no big surprise. This week's AT&T ESPN All-America Player of the Week, Darren McFadden of Arkansas, tied an SEC record with 321 yards rushing against South Carolina. You can get in on the action every week. Text the word VOTE to 87654 on your AT&T wireless phones. You can vote for the ESPN All-America Player of the Week.
Reese, thank you. D-Mac jumping back in the Heisman race with that performance. Brom to Stripling. He drops the screen pass attempt. McFadden against the Volunteers this Saturday, by the way. Can he do it?
I talked to him on the phone on Monday and asked him about the 300-yard game and said, how'd that feel? And he said, man, it was weird. You know, you just don't feel like I never 300 yards in the SEC. And, you know, now it's one of those games where they got to come back, reload. Does he have anything in the gas tank left over?
There's going to be teams like Georgia and Florida in the SEC East rooting that they knock off Tennessee. Vols control their destiny.
He's got a little story about the gas tank, don't you?
Offensive coordinator there at Arkansas came in, had a half a tank of gas and said, you got any left in yours? We got a half a tank here.
Brought to the meeting room, right?
Yeah. How about that?
Motivational play. Brom on 2nd and 10 fires. A diving interception attempt. It's incomplete. Thrown behind Patrick Carter. Quentin Andrews. The safety was in the neighborhood.
Last week, this 300. I'm serious. Doug, we've watched a lot of football, and even in a peewee game, have you ever seen 300-something yards?
No, you got the amazing thing about McFadden throughout the year, though. He's thrown a handful of touchdown passes as well. You know, when you start talking Heisman, there's a lot of other things that he does for this team.
He threw a touchdown pass in that game.
In that game, how about rushing for over 300 and throwing a touchdown as well?
I think he is college football's most outstanding player.
3rd and 10. Cardinals just 2 of 10 on 3rd down tonight. They rush forward. Brom has time. Fires over the middle.
in and out of the hands. Douglas appeared to be able to make the catch. Ryan Mundy and Boogie Allen in the neighborhood. Douglas was rocked. That's a crucial drop.
Boy, it looked like Douglas was just waiting to get hit there and looking to catch the ball as quickly as possible and get down. And Mundy just laid a blow on him.
Walking off, kind of favoring that right arm. Remember, it was a Douglas fumble earlier in the game that set up a West Virginia touchdown. Rivers ducking down into Louisville territory. And the Mountaineers will start this possession in plus territory, up by 10, 13:45 to play. Coming up on Thursday night, we'll pack up the wagons, head out west to the state of Arizona, Tucson, a week from tonight, as the high-flying Oregon Ducks come to town. Heisman frontrunner Dennis Dixon. See if the Ducks can dodge the upset in Tucson. Then USC travels to Tempe to take on the Sun Devils on Thanksgiving. Could be high stakes, certainly for Arizona State in that game. Just the one loss on the season so far. It'd be fun to head out west. Beautiful weather.
Front running Dixon, huh?
I think so. He's front runner of the straw polls right now. It's not my opinion. That's the consensus. Slayton has a short gain off the left side. You don't think he's the front runner for the Heisman?
Oh, I'd say he's neck and neck.
He got a
McFadden.
Lot of attention last weekend. Lot of attention. I think people just all of a sudden got exposed to him and say, "Hey,
for Dixon."
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the stats are not going to be, always so sparkling. He runs the offense and is such a valuable part of that team. And as long as Oregon doesn't lose, Dixon will be in the conversation for sure. Here's Slayton, still waiting to bust one.
Looks like he's a little cautious there, Craig, running the football.
Yeah, now you get a little cautious with it, but got to keep running. And as a runner, to get the big play, you've got to run past the arm tackle, and it'll break for you.
Slayton came in, needing 175 for 1,000 yards in the season, which seemed attainable against this Louisville defense. Instead, held to just 55 yards, averaging 3.4 per carry. That's it. 3rd and 6. White fires short. Being wrestled down short of the first down is Raynaud. There is Raynaud, 7th catch of the night. Mountaineers lobbying to go for it, and it looks like they have sent Schmidt into the ball game.
Yeah, I think you go I formation here or some sort like that with Schmidt.
Really? Fourth and 2. Yeah. If you don't make it, Louisville's got great field position. A bit of a gamble here from Rodriguez. And now they're going to pooch punt it. It's Owen Schmidt, the fullback, who's going to get the ball. He's the pooch punter. And that's, he missed it. Wow. Yeah, a little wrinkle. They looked like they were going to go for it, which I thought was a lot of character for Rodriguez. That's the 3rd punt of the year for Schmidt, and that's not one for the time capsule.
You got to understand why we're laughing. We really like this guy. He's a great guy, and he's a character and a comedian. I would give anything to be in that locker room to listen to grief this guy's going to take.
He's peeking to see if maybe he can run for an easy first down.
The guy,
he had his head up,
power clean, 525 pounds, and he can't kick a. How much does the ball weigh?
But he doesn't look like a punter, does he?
No.
Is that a punter?
Oh. That's a 9-yard punt by the big fella.
Is he going to take some heat?
He said, "Oh,
whoa. Easy."
Well, you did say this guy had a steel forehead at one time, didn't you?
Dude, that's a helmet. So Brom right back to work after the 9-yard punt, and Harry Douglas.
We're going to have to get another look at that. That was... Hang on.
Easy on the helmet. Easy on the helmet.
Yeah, you might have to buy a new one.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Huh?
You know what?
We've talked about concussions tonight. That's a potential self-concussion. That's not soft, is it? You got a look on your face, Craig.
I'm like, what did I just see?
All right, first down now, Louisville in a 10-point game. Still in this thing as Brom steps up, fights off the sack, finds a man across the middle, and it's Urrutia. Mario Urrutia, welcome back to the offense. His second catch, and they're set up at the 26.
Boy, the rush from the pressure from the outside forcing Brom to step up in the pocket. But you can even see Urrutia, he just doesn't have quite that push with his legs, does he? His toes.
Not the explosiveness that you're used to seeing out of him. Especially after the catch there. He might have split those two safeties.
You know what, though? 28 yards on that play, and Louisville very much in this ball game.
Big play.
The crowd had kind of gotten comfortable to the Mountaineers themselves. It's Stripling out of the backfield. Brom fires low and incomplete. He was trying to find Scott Long.
The key to a potential comeback here is pass protection. I mean, with the three-man rush, West Virginia has gotten pressure on Brom. When he has a chance to step up or hold on to the ball, he's making plays up the field, and it really looks easy for him.
We'll see if the little direct snap to Schmidt and the pooch punt backfires here. It really gave Louisville good field position instead of pinning him down inside the 10 or 15-yard line with the conventional punt, giving the Cardinals a chance. And Brom trying to make a pay, looking for the end zone. A flag. It's going to be interference. Trent Guy was working on Ellis Langster, and Langster clearly shoved him.
He extended his left arm, gave him a shove, knocked the receiver off balance. The ball was going to be incomplete anyway there, Craig.
You saw where the pressure was coming from, didn't you? Wide side of the field, right side?
I seen it.
You seen that. Go left.
Pass interference. Number 24 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. First down.
Guy the speedster sent deep.
You know, here, even, fine, push offense. We see it all the time, man. The offensive guys, the receivers, how many times have we seen it? Them pushing DBs off.
It's a one-way street, baby, and the quarterback loves it.
Oh, come on. That's actually, clearly defensive pass interference.
But,
clearly.
But what he's saying is the same type of push by a receiver would not get called. And there's a good chance it would.
That ball was catchable.
Actually, it was. I was wrong. I thought the ball landed out of bounds.
Two tight ends, play action on first down. Brom for the end zone. Jump ball, touchdown, Urrutia. So the 6'6" receiver collects just his third touchdown of the season. And all of a sudden, the Cardinals a conversion away from making this a three-point ball game.
How quiet is it here right now?
Not on the Louisville sideline. This crowd, I think, was kind of lulled to sleep. They thought the lead was pretty comfy.
Good. That's pressure on the right side. The corner's got to keep coming through the quarterback. Nice catch.
Cardinal rule is a pass rusher when you're going at the quarterback. Do not leave your feet. Continue to run through the quarterback.
They pick on Ellis Langster. He's guilty of the interference. And then beaten by Urrutia on the touchdown. Art Carmody.
Go ahead, bring it.
Can you have a Cardinal rule against the Cardinal?
Oh, okay. That was a curveball. Yeah, I guess so.
Rodriguez knows his team's kind of had a lapse in concentration, dropping the football. The little pooch punt misfires. It's a dangerous thing when you're in a close game with Brian Brom on the other side, and Brom now over 300 yards.
He just keeps plugging away. Just takes his completions, moving the football. They're turning into track. It's the mistakes by West Virginia that are keeping it alive.
This was a 17-point game not too long ago, and now the Mountaineers back on the field up 3. Sports Center coming up after the game. We'll also give a pep talk to the Cowboys, who host undefeated Kansas this Saturday. Another hoop upset. Louisville fans were thrilled by what happened to arch rival Kentucky on the hardwoods of Rupp. A stunning loss to Gardner-Webb.
Yeah, and do you think Coach Holtz, when he talks about Oak State, will talk about that 40-year-old man?
He did a little Mike Gundy impression. He had that orange shirt on.
Did he?
If you want to tune away for some reason from this three-point game, you won't see SportsCenter and ESPN News, but we invite you to lock in because 10.5 to play, and all of a sudden it's a three-point ball game involving the number 7 team in the country. Flannery to kick off. And it's Devine with a chance. Noel Devine spins free and quite escaped the tackle there of Smith.
Well, I'll give you an adjustment I'd make. I'd get back to Pat White moving and running with the football. You know what? They've tried to lather up and get Slayton in the game. Pat White in the first quarter was the guy. On the edges, running the ball. Got to go back to Pat White.
Go back to your original, spread him out and let him make his decisions with the ball and see where it ends up.
Yep.
White, 14 of 22. Those 2 touchdowns were early in the game to Darius Raynaud. They haven't been nearly as effective throwing the ball since the first quarter. It's a first down run. On the sweep, Pat White bumps into a blocker, which kept him from making a bigger gain. Buchanan there on the stop after about 9 yards.
He had a lot of room there on the cutback up through the middle of the field. Runs into one of his own guys and gets caught from behind.
Well, all day he's had a day. You know what? His legs, his vision, his tenacity, and then out on the outside, the pressure of the run opens up the secondary, and he easily throws it for the touchdowns.
He also got popped here, boom, and there was some concern that might have resulted in an injury. White back in there.
So is the punter.
Yeah. Punter, tight end, and fullback Schmidt is to the right of White. Quarterback keeper again, and it'll be a first down across the 40. Mar Miles involved, little fracas there. Pretty clear evidence that his jersey was grabbed.
You think? No holding on that play. No, I just had an itch. I pulled it down.
So 2 runs by White, and the Mountaineers move the chains. Slayton back in the ballgame in the slot to the left of the formation. They're running right. White cuts it back. Very simple attack. They've gone back to what they were using early in this game. Miles with the stop.
Well, 35, Owen Schmidt, not a bad guy to run behind, but I'm not sure that you want to have the big fella try to get some extension with the foot. But then he came right back in. And you know what? He hits his head, gets his game back in place. That's unbelievable.
That's not a love tap with that hard plastic helmet on a cold night.
He didn't hold back.
White again. 4 plays on this drive, 4 runs by the quarterback. He crosses midfield. I think he'll be just short of the first down.
Somebody down there is listening to you, Craig.
Well, it worked early.
Pretty simple, pretty tough to stop, huh?
It's tough to stop because it's an extra player on the field to block. When the quarterback is running, especially out of this formation, it's like being a tailback with Schmidt as the fullback. And you can block everybody.
3rd and short now. And it's White getting the corner. White, first down and more. This game got close, and Rodriguez gets back to basics, running number 5.
Well, number 5 also makes great decisions at the line of scrimmage. Coach Rod says that what he does here, you're going to see what he had it over here, and there was the fullback, so he says, jump over here, let's get the numbers in our favor. And that's why he went left and went to the left side of the field.
But still, they miss a block, and they have unblocked people, and he just uses his quickness to get to the outside.
He just went right around Miles. You're right, he would sniff that play.
You know.
5 straight runs for the quarterback. Make it 6.
Is it time for the Tebow, though? The tuck under, the duck in, and pull back?
It didn't like he was going to do it there, didn't it?
It sure did.
Well, it's a gut check for Pat White in this offense that kind of went to sleep.
He's breathing high. Coach, can we call somebody else's number?
You know, Steve can run the ball a little bit there, Coach.
You said he's only 186 pounds. Tough guy. Has played through various injuries this year, but taken a lot of hits tonight. He's carried it 21 times. It's time to give it off to the punter. And Schmidt stopped for a loss. Miles on the tackle.
Shouldn't he be going a little more north and south?
That would be the preferred run for a 260-pounder, I think. Yes.
Yeah, that might have been just a design play to give Pat White a breather.
How do you get the ball to number 10, though? Hey, now it's third down and long.
How many punters have a 36-inch vertical when they're 260 pounds?
He claims to have a 36-inch vertical, doesn't he? He's a 600-pound squat guy.
It's possible.
That's good hops for 260.
At the game clock, 6 minutes, 31 seconds.
But again, it's a crucial third down play. They need 6 yards.
This Louisville defense, this Louisville football team has played with a lot of character here tonight.
Now, will they go for it, you think, Craig, if they don't get it here?
I don't think they can risk giving a short field again. I think you punt the football, you play defense, and make them go a long distance with the clock where it is, particularly down just up by 3.
All right, if that's true, that raises the stakes on this third down play. Slayton in the slot. 5 receivers for White. Almost intercepted. Boy, he tried to force that ball into traffic. John Russell was defending Jala. Shaky decision there, and it'll be 4th down.
Great job by Russell, putting his foot in the ground and closing on the ball. It actually appeared to me like the receiver was going to be open, but the closing speed or reaction of looking at the quarterback, seeing the ball thrown, excellent job.
No wrinkle here. The regular punter, McAfee, will try to pin Louisville back, but Braum will get the football back. Down 3, different formation as they go real wide. So rugby punt, McAfee, nice job. Just like a sandwich, stops it at the 8-yard line. So, punt forces Louisville back at the 10-yard line. Schmidt and the offense will watch the defense take the field as Braum goes back out there down by only 3, 6:11 to play.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Applebee's. Together is good. And in part by Clean Exchange, the only electric shaver with a disposable head. Clean Exchange, new from Remington.
Well, the Mountain Man and this all-gold crowd, the all-gold favorites, number 7 in the BCS, have to hang on. They had a 17-point lead on Louisville. The Cardinals have scored in 2 of their last 3 possessions. They're a long way from the end zone, but Braum has been sharp after halftime. Steps up, fires over the middle, looking for Douglas on the carry. It's intercepted. Eric Wicks, another big play. Off the hands of Douglas, and Wicks, who had the scoop and score fumble return, comes up with a huge interception near midfield.
When you talk to Jeff Castile about the defense in the secondary, he says there's one guy that has to show up for us week in and week out, and it's Eric Wicks. He's always around the football, making plays. You're talking about picking a team up. Old Mo had gone over to the Cardinal bench, and he came back now to West Virginia.
Braum tries to squeeze it in down the middle of the field. He's got to get it over the linebacker's head, and defenders close on the ball. The ball's in the air way too long. You can't force this ball.
But that ball, it's forced. But that ball hits 2 hands of the receiver, Douglas.
And Ryan Mundy, though, the safety came over. The transfer from Michigan made a nice play to knock that ball out of Douglas's hands. And Wicks has a second big play on defense. And now Slayton tries to run downhill.
But a big part of that play is Ivy is running with him down the middle of the field and forces Braum to put a little air on the ball. It's in the air a little longer. Mundy closes on it. Yes, he could have caught the ball and pulled it down and had a great catch. But it's just a little too much traffic there.
Wicks picks for the 3rd time this year. Braum again looking for Douglas, not afraid to throw the ball in traffic, but the bad result there. Cardinals defense has to step up here. 5.5 to play. It's White. In traffic, loses the football. Fumble. Louisville's got it. What's going on with the Mountaineers? Another turnover.
This is the same problem that West Virginia had against South Florida earlier this season, and they just fall apart.
Another fumble by White. Maurice Mitchell on the recovery. Lamar Miles caused it. Ball security should be the #1 issue, protecting a 3-point lead in the fourth quarter. 3 lost fumbles by the Mountaineers. And now Brom and company are set up at the 37.
Great effort by the linebacker coming in. Lamar Miles, 22, attacking, playing full speed to the football.
Brom will run, slides and gets hammered near midfield. Quentin Andrews on the collision. Brom picks up a first down. So 6 turnovers now, 3 for each team.
See that brace, Doug? Did you ever have to wear a knee brace? You know, when you slide and it would get messed up in there. And
I never did, and he's either got to slide a little quicker or get a flag from an official for getting hit after he slides. I'll tell you what, people take shots. They know a quarterback is going to the ground, and they lay out to get there.
Yeah. Clean hit there, though, didn't you think, by Andrews?
Yes, but it was borderline.
On first down. Brom back. Short completion. Long spinning ahead for about 4. Lewis on the coverage.
Jeff Castill's had a lot of success tonight by going after Crackthorpe's offensive line, particularly the right side. The right guard, Brian Roach, is the inexperienced player over there, and so they've really tried to attack that right side off the corner, in the middle, see if they can have any success with it here on this drive.
Pressure off the edge. Brown gets away. Flag is down as Brom is corralled after a short game. Johnny Dingle is in there pressuring him. Let's check the flag now.
That's that right side again.
It looked like Lewis coming off the corner, coming off the edge on the outside. Brom didn't see him to the last instant.
And mistakes continue.
Personal foul.
For West Virginia.
Illegal contact to the head. Number 6 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. First down.
As Lewis coming on the blitz, illegal contact to the head is the call. And that'll move the ball to the 31-yard line.
Again, when you're coming in free to the quarterback, just run through the upfield shoulder of the quarterback. Don't leave your feet. Don't jump. Just go ahead and make the tackle.
Another critical penalty against the Mountaineers, and got 96 yards in penalties tonight. Pressure off the edge. Brom retreating and just throws it into the ground. Stripling was in the area, and now another flag comes in. John Holmes, who made the big play in the blitz earlier, which forced the fumble, was in again. And now it's defensive holding.
Wow. Probably on the screen back, trying to get out.
Brom was just trying to throw the ball into the ground, and they end up giving him yardage in the penalty now.
Holding. Number 96 on the defense. 10-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. It will be first down.
Well, Stripling is trying to get out to the screen. He gets held by the defender, so Brom has no option but to throw it away into the ground.
There's the last 2 penalties. This is the shot. Boom. As Lewis went up high on the head of Brom. That cost him 15. And then the hold moves it 10 yards to the 21-yard line.
Right here. Moving.
They fake the throw. Stripling. Short gain. Dingle on the stop. Boy, what a turnaround has been in this game, and a potential turnaround for the season of the Louisville Cardinals. 5-4, a big disappointment, a big underdog here tonight. West Virginia, number 7 in the BCS. And the Cardinals look to be almost done. Remember, they were down 17. There was the interception, the long return nullified with a pass interference penalty. They went in and scored again, and West Virginia has been self-destructing with turnovers in the fourth quarter. Brom Again, pressure. Fires for the end zone. Just out of the reach of Carter. Patrick Carter had beaten Langster. Just out of his reach.
I think that answered a question for me. I'm wondering, is Steve Crackthorpe going to go for it? Is he going to be conservative here? Try to make sure he gets 3 out of the thing? He's going for the end zone.
He's got one of the best field goal kickers in college football history. Art Carmody, the senior, is going to be the all-time career scoring leader in the NCAA before he's done. But he wants to keep Carmody on the sidelines.
Common thread on 3rd and long is pressure for West Virginia. Ivy had the pressure on the last play.
There's that tight end again.
You're thinking end zone, but don't make a mistake if you're Brom. He fires into traffic. He tried to get it to Barnage. It was broken up nicely there. J.T. Thomas, the 3rd-string linebacker, covering one of Brom's favorite targets on a critical play and making a nice play. And here is Carmody. Notice that, 56 of 69 career. He came into this game needing just 15 points to break the career NCAA scoring record. Trying to get 3 points closer. This will be a 37-yard field goal before he kicks it. A timeout. So will the guy they call Art-O-Matic for automatic tie this game with 3:10 to play? We'll find out. Art Carmody has missed 4 field goals this year. He's 9 of 13. 2 of those blocked. Breakdowns in the protection. This from 37 yards to tie this football game at 31. Cardinals trying to score 17 straight points. And they get protection. The Lou Groza Award winner from 2006 is the top kicker in the country. Doesn't usually miss. So the turnover, the fumble, the 3rd of this half by West Virginia gives Louisville life, and they cash it in.
Now you've got to wonder, West Virginia mentally, this offense, with the balls that they put on the ground, will they come out and be aggressive enough to do something with it?
Look at that, guys. Last 6 possessions, 3 turnovers, fumbles by the big guns on this offense. 2 by White, 1 by Slayton. Total of 82 yards in 6 drives.
You know, you're not going to stop that offense when they execute properly. They're good. The only way they get stopped is when they stop themselves, by putting it on the ground or having unforced penalties.
But all of a sudden, with their BCS chances, realistically, their chances at a conference championship, Connecticut can't clinch if West Virginia loses this game tonight, but Mountaineers fall in a deep hole, 2 games behind if they don't get the win. All of that stuff now riding on the next 3 minutes and 5 seconds.
This would be a rather large kickoff and kick coverage. Devine back there is tough to bring down.
Have Vaughn Rivers back there. Darius Raynaud. Devine not deep. It's unusual. Raynaud receives it at the 6-yard line. And Raynaud picks his way across the 30 up near the 35. So Brom has brought Louisville back with a big assistance from the miscues by the Mountaineer offense. Remember, this was a pass interference called to nullify the interception of the long return. They went in and scored. Cut the lead. Then the gimmicky attempt at a pooch punt from Schmidt goes 9 yards. Louisville, after an interference penalty, Urrutia catches it. And then the penalties on that last drive.
Yeah,
so here we go.
The interference was a 3rd and 17.
White, a 1st down throw. It's complete. Rock Sanders, short gain, forced out by Rod Council.
You saw the strategy there. No pass rush, just 4 guys at the line of scrimmage. Hold your position. Don't let Pat White outside.
Five receivers in this formation. And White will take off. Ducks ahead, gets a 1st down up near midfield.
And West Virginia's philosophy has to be just moving the chains because it's 2:20 to go, plenty of time. All you need is a field goal. Just methodically move the football and go for a game-winning field goal.
But you need your quarterback to regroup, Doug, and he's had a couple turnovers, a couple fumbles in this half. Fires, complete. Sanders again, and a flag very late down in the holding zone. Wow, another crucial penalty. A hold against the Mountaineers wipes out the pass. This has been self-destruction.
Holding, number 79 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. First down.
11 penalties, 116 yards to go with the 3 second-half fumbles. Istiner, the guard.
Yeah, absolutely. He was beaten, pulled him down with him. It's a good call.
But you get a double team there. Do you really need a holding
Well, he just got beaten. He just pulled him down.
He knew he was getting beat. He wasn't sure where the double team was coming from or whether he was going to be there.
White fires. Going up and getting the football near midfield is Darrell Jalla.
Now that's a big-time throw and catch.
It was.
And Louisville is inviting it. I mean, they really are not going to try to put pressure on. You see the balance up front, trying to contain Pat White. What a catch going up.
Good job. Both feet in bounds. Just for good measure.
So they get 12 yards back. It's 2nd and 8. White darts up the middle. Pat White in the open field. Pat White to the house. A very poor second half for the quarterback, but he goes half the football field, 50 yards. To give West Virginia the lead. So dangerous if he gets just the tiniest crease. McAfee adds the point. 1:36 for Braun to work with. White, 181 passing and now 147 rushing.
Well, and you know what? Louisville's up there, and they're trying to really play safe at the defensive line to keep this from happening. But what you have to understand is if you're standing still and Pat White starts going, you have no shot of getting an angle to catch him.
Watch the safeties. The safeties are looking to bracket receivers.
And the line. And then watch the line.
They get out of the picture. They're just clearing the whole middle of the field open. Once White breaks the line of scrimmage, he's off and running.
Gets just enough of a block downfield there. That's a good job by Tito Gonzalez to clip the last man out of the play. Not clip him, but block him and spring White.
It is not over.
No, sir. Those folks were mad at White a little while ago for his 2 fumbles, but he redeems himself with the 50-yard touchdown run. SportsCenter to follow. The final chapter of this 3rd edition of Louisville versus West Virginia in the Big East. All 3 games have been entertaining. All 3 games have been tight. 2 years ago, a multi-overtime win by the Mountaineers as they rallied. It was the coming out party for Pat White and Slayton that night. Low kick. Gets past Guy. Rolls back to the 1 and he just falls down. A disastrous play for Louisville's special teams. Trent Guy, who had the punt return for a touchdown a year ago against the Mountaineers, let the ball get by him and then went back and fell on it at the 1, slipped down there.
How many times do you hear fans and those Monday morning quarterbacks talk about not kicking the ball, dribbling it down the field? When it's right, here's the example of why it works. You dribble it so they can't get a good clean catch on the ball to return it.
The old croquet, that was through the wicket there. He looked like he was looking up at the coverage team. Took his eye off of it.
Stay down on the ball, son. You know, when your shortstop, get the glove out in front, reach for the ball. Now Brom, 99 yards away.
Now, this is a challenge for a quarterback. Minute 34. They have 2 timeouts. Short completion to Stripling. And Ducks near first down yardage at the 11. That's a good start. Morty Ivy on the stop there.
I don't think time will be an issue on this thing. With 2 timeouts, move the chains. When stop the clock to move the chains. Don't panic.
As long as you're making first downs.
Brom on the run. Ducks under at the 17-yard line. Now the clock ticking. Do they spend a timeout here? They decide not to. That was costly. He'd been better off just throwing that ball away. Picked up 5 yards, but cost himself a lot of time. Another short completion. Stripling ducking under. He'll have a first down. The clock will stop. They move it to the 24, but only 46 seconds left now.
Yeah, that was a costly scramble there. Once he broke out, if he could have thrown the ball away or continued to out of bounds instead of getting back up the field.
My approach there was if the clock is running and you're going to save time, use a timeout.
Still working underneath. This is a short reception by Barnage. Not a first down, and they'll have to spend one of those timeouts with 31 seconds. And they're still 67 yards away from the end zone. West Virginia trying to chase Connecticut. Huskies would have been excited to see the Mountaineers take a second conference loss. UConn has to come here in a couple of weeks.
I get the feeling, though, Randy Edsel and his group, they'd like to have that opportunity, a big-time game, come up here. Spoke with Randy today, and he's got a good young football team. They believe in themselves. He's telling them not to drink the poison. Don't listen to what the students tell you. All the pats on the back. A very good football team, fundamentally there.
And a reminder again that our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Football is rough. Your commute shouldn't be, so get there in Goodyear Silent Armor technology. This old gold crowd not out of the woods yet. Only 31 seconds for Brom to work with and a long way to go. Dinking and dunking, which has been a big part of their attack, won't work now.
Yeah, get to the point where you're going to have to force one up the field somewhere. If you don't force it up the field, the best you can do is get the ball near midfield and throw one for the end zone.
Saw a smile from Pat White. He won't be pleased with himself for those 2 second-half fumbles that let Louisville back in this game, but in the end, the 50-yard touchdown run by White is the difference. Brom, again, a short throw dropped by Stripling. He was thinking about getting to the sidelines after the catch. Forgot to make the catch.
If Brom has the ability to step up in the pocket the way he just did and look to one side of the field, kind of lift up for a pump fake, he may have an opportunity to make a big play downfield to the opposite side. But only if he has that opportunity to step up and move towards the line of scrimmage to make a long throw down to the opposite sideline.
That's the guy, 85, Harry Douglas, left side.
Brom again fires short to Stripling. They'll get the first down, which will stop the clock momentarily, but they're still 60 yards away.
Grounded here. Reload. 19 seconds. He's not. He's going to try to run it up.
Brom finally will look a little bit downfield, incomplete. Douglas was sliding, couldn't come up with it, and now just 9 seconds to go.
With 9 seconds left, he still has the one timeout. That's why I say back when you got tackled, you have to use your timeouts while you know you're saving some clock. You don't want to end up with one in your pocket.
What do you know about Hail Marys?
I know nothing.
Play at the end of the game.
But now they can still go somewhere in the middle of the field, try to get it down the field in range to throw the Hail Mary on the last play because you have a timeout.
Taking a lot of time here. Brom heaving it. Jump ball on the carom. Who's got it? Intercepted by Antonio Lewis as the final gun sounds. In the end, satisfaction for Pat White. They made it close with the mistakes and a nice rally from Louisville, but the Cardinals come up short. And that's one of the stories of 2007 as they dropped to 5-5. Still a win short of bowl eligibility. West Virginia still pursuing the conference crown and still in the hunt. Here's the final play again.
You got to have one in the middle. You got to have one behind, and then there's a trailer coming in looking for the deflection and the tip. They're in position. Louisville receivers are in the right position. They just couldn't get there.
Harry Douglas caught a Hail Mary at the end of the Kentucky game, but ended up at the 10-yard line and couldn't get in the end zone. So they do that very well, gave themselves an opportunity, falling short.
And Pat White, our Wrangler player of the game, 328 total yards, accounting for 3 touchdowns. And West Virginia survives. Maybe not the style points they were looking for, but they should stay in the race and very much in the BCS or the Big East race. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Once again, Louisville and West Virginia is exciting.
Here we go again. Welcome to Sports Center. I'm Carl Ravish. Neil Everett is another New England team set to win a championship. Good one tonight. Pistons and winless Bulls, plus the latest on the Cowboys and Giants. Where in the world is the Gardner Webb of tonight? What is the top story?
Well, we got a big game in the Big East. You just watched it, Thursday Night Football on ESPN. Louisville, West Virginia. Mountaineers chasing Connecticut. Louisville's been a bit of a disappointment this season. Scoreless first. Darius Rayno gets the spot shadow, and Pat White, just that quick release. West Virginia up 7-0 later in the first. If some is good, more is better. White rolling out, and again, look at that, right from the ear. Cock, lock, ready to rock. West Virginia players celebrate in the end zone. That always makes Coach Rodriguez happy. Get over here and stop that! West Virginia up 14-7 now, second quarter. White, Rayno, again, 31 yards. But here they lost the wide receiver. He left the game with the sore knee right there. 4th and goal from the 1. Slayton follows Owen Schmidt, who's quite interesting to watch him on the sidelines tonight. Mountaineers 21-7, 14 rushing touchdowns for Slayton. Third quarter, 24-14, Brian Brom. Like Slayton and White, Brom was a kid who had a lot of Heisman talk about him. Sacked by John Holmes. Eric Wicks, reservations for 6. We've got a 17-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Well, remember what happened last year. 17 points wasn't enough for Louisville. Fourth quarter, Cardinals down 10, now down 3. Brom, Mario Arruta, end zone. Touchdown, now with 6 minutes left. Brom over the middle. Tip and picked by Wicks, who had a heck of a ball game. The touchdown we just showed you, big interception for the senior there. But 2 plays later, nursing a 3-point lead with 5.5 to play. Pat White with one of his rare mistakes. He fumbles, Louisville recovers, and the Cardinals are going to have another chance. And they're going to take advantage of that chance. Art Carmody, 31 yards for a 31-all game. And it's good. And right at this point, I thought overtime, and the Rap Dog said, I don't think so. I don't think this game's going to overtime, because he's a big believer in Pat White when he's got the football and he can run with it. Pat White ran for 146 yards in this game, 50 of it right here, 182 through the air, and it's 38-31. But hold on, because Louisville's going to have another chance. Unfortunately, their special teams, not so special, going to make that chance a 99-yard chance after Trent Guy lets it go right through the 5-hole.
Yeah, problem.
Right down to the 1. So Coach Craig Thorpe's squad going to have to go 99. Final seconds. Mary works on Sundays. It's Thursday. Nothing here. Brom goes long, and West Virginia comes up with it, and they win it. 38-31 is your final. Two years ago, West Virginia down 17 in the third quarter, came back to defeat Louisville in triple overtime by 2 points. This year, the Mountaineers were up 17 in the third, but because of the White touchdown this time, the game didn't have to go to overtime, which was good for all involved, including Chris Fowler and his band.
West Virginia wins, and they play John Denver's Take Me Home Country Road. It's been a long, weird, winding, wacky road for the Mountaineers to navigate to a hard-earned 7-point victory tonight. They overcome 11 penalties for 116 yards and 3 fumbles in the second half. They made it interesting. but it was White with redemption at the end.
And White started the game out on fire, ended it on fire. And remember, when we look back at the first quarter, this was an offense that was moving along and just doing their thing. Pat White, very efficient, very effective. Maybe the number 7 team in the BCS got a little overconfident there. That happens all the time when you start out strong, so they had to recover at the end and barely did that.
Well, we talked about it early, that the only way they get stopped is to stop themselves, whether it's penalties, turnovers, stupid mistakes, a bad punt, kicking it out of bounds for 8 yards. Those are the only things that stop this offense. And when Pat White had his back to the wall, he said, give me the ball. They started driving it, and then the last time, bang, touchdown, down. Put the ball in Pat White's hands.
Well, it was an eventful, scary night for the Mountaineers quarterback. Afterwards, he visited with Aaron Andrews.
All right, well, thanks so much. This game for you, Pat, had a little bit of everything. Fumbles, you got blood on your jersey, you took a big hit in the head. How are you feeling?
Relieved now. I mean, that last fumble of mine had me upset, worried, but things happened. I happened to get in the end zone. We pulled it out. Great win for us.
I saw you after that fumble. You come over to the sidelines. You kind of had your head in your hands. What were you thinking there after that?
I just gave Brian Brom the football. That's what I was thinking.
And when you got the football back, you see a little bit of crease and no one there. What are you thinking as you're running down the field?
Just let me get in this end zone. Or at least get in range for Pat Mack to make a field goal.
You just have this look like you were completely dazed. Is it the hit on your head or you just, I mean, what are you thinking now?
It might still be the hit. I don't know. I'm just, oh man, that game. Whew. I don't know what else to say.
All right, well, thank you so much, Pat.
Thank you.
For the third year in a row, you can say in Louisville, West Virginia, that game, lots of twists and turns. Brom, meanwhile, 345 yards passing for the senior. Couple of touchdowns. He had 2 interceptions, one on a Hail Mary at the end of the game. Almost heroic performance from the senior leader of Louisville.
I thought Louisville's defense came and played a lot better today. You know, they stepped up when they had to, made enough plays. Brom almost had his team in contention to win the game. I was looking for character. I was looking for a team to go out there and play hard. I thought Louisville did that.
Well, you talk about character. They were down 17, came all the way back to tie it. Brom kept slugging away, firing in there. The only negative is he's got such a good arm and so much confidence. He tried to stick it in there a couple of times when maybe he shouldn't.
It's the 5th loss for Louisville. They're still not bowl eligible at 5-5. They're being a preseason national title contender. West Virginia, number 7 in the BCS, coming in, lumped in there with those one-loss teams. What did they do tonight? Do you think they hurt their chances in terms of style points? They were a big favorite coming in.
Yeah, perception-wise, you know, Louisville's down right now, so there's not a lot of real praise coming around for Louisville's football team. So you struggle with the Louisville team. I mean, this is still a Louisville football team with Brian Brom.
And West Virginia still some work to do to secure the conference title. They still have 3 games to play. Connecticut comes in here for a very important game. Rich Rodriguez saying goodbye and good luck to Brian Brom. It's the last time he'll have to defend him in the Big East. And Brom, of course, a year away from success in the NFL. In the end, they can smile and sing along to John Denver. Mountaineers win it by 7, but it was interesting in Morgantown. Guys?
Love it, John.
You want to give him a few bars? Well, you heard Chris mention it, that West Virginia at Cincinnati, that's where UConn is this week. And, of course, the Huskies, they're in the driver's seat in the Big East. November 24th, that drive could be a little tougher when they play West Virginia.